We kind of knew that it's going to be very hard to qualify after 2 games. Like, we are very happy about our performance. We were prepared for both of the teams, so we kind of knew what to expect from them. We are kind of good adapting to the teams we are playing during the game, so thanks to our experience, we know how to use it and win the games. Last year there was a Polish corner, if I'm not wrong. They're sitting always on our right side when we play. We expect them to come this year again. It's very good for us to have our own fans coming to European events and cheer for us.
Dupree couldn't play today because of his operation. It was devastating for us when we got the news yesterday. I haven't been able to practice with the team, obviously, because we never thought that this kind of situation would happen. I know the Virtus Pro guys from back in the days when I was playing 1.6. They are legends, no questions about that. They have been playing for a lot of years. Playing on this stage and having this crowd in front of us is just, it's a one-time experience. I've been playing CS for 13 years and I've never seen anything like this.
Neither have I, Zonic. This is going to be a big one. Virtus Pro, Astralis. I don't know how so many people got up so early, but I understand it when you realize that this game has a lot going for it. 3 minutes now. In 3 minutes' time, we'll be getting a preview, a little taste of just how close this game could be. But first, I'm going to probe the minds of these guys to my left. Now, my first question to you guys is, we've already painted this as a very tough picture for Astralis. They're a very, it's a very two contrasting stories. Virtus Pro gliding through the group stages. They've got their full roster. And I just want to kind of take a moment to set the scene as to why Virtus Pro are still not a guarantee. Why do we doubt Virtus Pro at any point? We talk about their online performance, offline performance. Why is there such a discrepancy between the two? They talked about how the fans drive them, Duncan.
I mean, personally, I don't doubt them. I think they're going to make the semi-finals. I think they're a very, very good team. And usually, the key thing I always say about them is it's like, you have to beat them. They'll never beat themselves. They'll never just give up and roll over because you've got a big lead on them. They always have that combat potential. But I will say, I understand why a lot of experts, a lot of fans were like, oh, they're slumping online. Oh, they're done. They're never going to be major champions again. Because the problem is, the level they hit when they won that major was so, so high. That's one of the highest peaks we've ever seen from a single team. I mean, they basically dominated everyone in the whole tournament, including the legendary NIP. So if you're anywhere off that elite level, the best level you ever see, it's going to seem like a big drop. You've gone down. But you have to understand, the thing about this team is, it doesn't matter what the form is. It doesn't matter which players are playing well. They are grinders. And so any opponent they play against, this time they're the favorite, but if they play later on against SK Gaming, one of these teams that should win the trophy, they're one of the only teams that can go head-to-head and they won't just give up. They won't just think, right, we're the underdogs, this isn't the good map for us. They've shown that consistency where they just keep in the game, they keep grinding away, and when you do that, you'll end up making these player runs. You'll end up making it deep into big tournaments.
Janko, you've been a player yourself. When you come into a tournament with no pressure, like Astralis, they didn't even think they were going to get out of group stage, especially with the loss of Dupree. Is there any sort of is it worth discussing that advantage of just having basically zero pressure, nothing to lose?
Definitely, and especially when we talk about a team like Astralis, they are known to have this, mental pressure when it comes to semifinals, most notably. But we saw yesterday, Zipex was the MVP of that deciding game, and a lot of times, even getting entry kills, being really good at clutches, at retakes on the CT side. So we've seen a new face. He is usually the support player of the team, the one who is, doing the dirty work for them. And I think with players like him, Kerrigan also showed some signs of brilliance with the AWP. When you let them off the leash, so to speak, Device especially, who was a bit quiet. We were expecting more from him in that game, but I think that he was still solid enough. He did enough for them. I think that they can be dangerous for VP.
And I think that's probably where I want to take this, Blue, with you, is every single time Astralis have come into this one of the key factors we've outlined on the desk is Device. Device has to have, this world-class performance. Have we seen that yet, or is it perhaps to come in the quarterfinals?
I mean, here's the thing, is the performance yesterday would work against Dignitas. I don't think it's going to work today against Virtus Pro. We need to see him bring his #1 form that he always is on this team back into the picture. That, plus the great plays we're already seeing from Kerrigan and the greatly increased performance that we had from Zipex yesterday. If we see all of that, plus with the two new guys working very well, Glaive is still at a very respectable tournament to this point too. Let's not forget him. He's been doing a pretty great job. So if we see all those factors combined, there may be a chance there. I still feel like, though, Virtus Pro playing with the 5 core man roster, they're still looking way better going into this match.
Yeah, I'm seeing consistent nods on the desk. There's no doubt Astralis are most definitely David in this David versus Goliath scenario. And we keep talking about them. Why don't we meet them? It's time to introduce the LANXESS Arena to Astralis.
The Danish superstars making their 4th appearance in the playoffs of a major. Give it up, Cologne, for Astralis! Please welcome to the arena, the Polish powerhouse, Virtus Pro!
Okay, we're moments away from our first game of the day. Taz, I want to just get out a very quick word. I know you don't like these things before the game, so I'm going to make this sweet and short. You've got a lot of Polish fans here at the LANXESS Arena. What would you like to say to them before you match?
Dzięki, że przyjechaliście. And for all the fans who are here, welcome Cologne!
And we've also got Carrigan here, who happens to speak some German right here. So, in Deutsch?
Gestern haben wir für Dupree gespielt. Heute spielen wir für die deutschen Fans. Dankeschön, Cologne.
Let's get it on, ladies and gentlemen. Astralis Virtus Pro, it's game on!
Ich bin Engländer.
Das ist gut.
Perfect. All right, we do have Astralis versus Virtus Pro. You can see the rosters there. It is going to be really enjoyable actually to kind of unearth some of the more maybe intricacies of this roster. We were singing the praises of Zipnix, and actually that's where I want to start this pre-match discussion. Okay. Yes, he's had a fantastic performance statistically. Why do we pin support to a player like Zipnix? We can see he's capable of performances like this. Let's actually explore this roles that we do like to pin to players. What is it that he does, or what that he's capable of, that gives him that support title?
What's great is he's a perfect example of someone where it actually starts with the mentality, because even though at one point in time he was groomed to be a Device or a Dupree, a young star player, he's someone where when he came into this lineup where they have Device, Dupree, and other talented players, he knows those guys are best when they're in the star role. Give them everything in the game they need and they will succeed. Meanwhile, it actually takes a lot of talent, it takes a lot of nuance to play some of these difficult positions, like anchor a bomb site, just be the guy who holds a position behind someone, who throws a flashbang, who has a tricky smoke lined up for someone. So he's someone who, in his personality, he's kind of like a more diminutive guy, you know, he's more reserved, he's willing to let other people go ahead. But the crucial thing for me with this guy is, a lot of players like that, the reason why they have that mentality is they're not that good at the game, actually. Like, they're good at maybe, like, working with someone, or they have consistent skills. He actually has a very high skill level. So when you add in all of this, the fact that he wants to embrace that role, he can be the best in the world at it. And that's why at times he can even be the star player from the support position, which is why they've got a kind of a unique luxury here, which obviously will play a big role in this matchup where some of the other stars aren't available.
And my question to you, Janko, then is, does that mean support is sometimes used as an excuse? An underperforming player, a player that doesn't never make the plays, is that sometimes seen as an excuse then?
I think it is. I feel that, you know, every team pretty much has a player who does the dirty work, who's there to throw the tough smokes, who's there to flash other players in, maybe be the first one going into the bomb site. You're going to get killed more often than not, but you are there to create space for the rest of your team, right? So as long as you're doing your job, as long as your team is winning rounds, then, you know, there's no question about it. But when you start losing, you're usually the first guy who's going to take the hit from the community and from everyone else. So you have to be a really strong person mentally to be able to do the role.
Is there someone like that on VP? Who is the Zipniks of Virtus.pro?
I think it's definitely Neo and Taz to an extent, because Neo, especially in 1.6, up there with Forrest as the best player of all time, and him and Taz, the most experienced players, realize that, you know, maybe it's better for the team if they take a step back, go to a more supportive role with the addition of Snax and Bialy, albeit almost more than 2 years ago now. They've realized that these young players have a lot of potential, that have a lot of skill and talent, so they let them grow in a sense that they really showed that they can be the leading stars of this VP team.
And talking of youngsters that grow, we have got Blue joining us, man, and you can talk to us a little
You
bit.
might still grow, mate.
Never know. Cross our fingers and toes. Virtus.pro coming into this one as the hot favorites, Blue. Can we just quickly remind everyone as to why, in terms of like these individuals? He talked about Neo as a legend. Who is the current legend for Virtus.pro?
I mean, just looking at the tournament so far, I would have to say it's been Snack stepping up in a lot of the big matchups there, and over the course of it, one player for me that actually hasn't really been present so far has been Pasha, who's been known to be one in the past, but so far he's actually been probably one of the underperformers for this team. So I'm curious as to what he's going to bring to the table in this matchup, because that's, again, there's a lot of ifs with this matchup going into it, to where if Virtus.pro, if this guy doesn't show up, if they don't execute their strats properly, then that's where Astralis, I feel like, could actually really punish them and take an edge over them in this one.
Okay, let's explore the ifs. Duncan, I need a full list of what has to go wrong for Virtus.pro for Astralis to pick up this win.
First of all, historically, the guys from Astralis don't have the mental block against Virtus.pro, actually. That maybe comes if they do play against a team like an NIP, for example. They've played Virtus.pro, and many, many times they've matched up really, really well. This was one of my favorite matchups when they were at full strength. So I think, first and foremost, one of the things that used to always be on the side of Astralis was I actually think they used to have the skill advantage. They used to have, most of the positions were more skilled than the Virtus.pro guys. So I actually think, in one sense, they can still have that, in as much as, okay, Snax has been playing well, he's been getting back into that kind of top 10 form that we think of, but he's not always there every single game. So we've touched on it already. If Device plays at his peak level, he can be the best player in the server. So anytime you've got the best player in the server on your team, then you know you've got a chance. You've always got a guy who can turn the round for you, who can win you a half. I mean, a lot of people obviously can underrate Device, because on the big stage like this, he has had some failures in his career, okay? He's had times he didn't live up to that level, but it's the fact that we expect him to live up to that level that shows this guy's a very talented player. I mean, a lot of people forget, he's still only 20 years old now. He's played in all these tournaments, but this is one of those guys where people wonder why I go on about him, because he's one of my favorite players because of his talent level. I mean, I know genius when I see it. I mean, I see it every morning in the mirror, obviously, Alex, but jokes aside. No, he's a very, very talented guy, and so I think that's a key area in this matchup, because the one thing I will say about Virtus.pro is, even when they've had a few flaws, it's the style and the experience that I think carries them through these matches and makes them very good. But that's the reason they haven't hit that 5th gear and gone to like major winning status again in the last few months, is because not all of the skill pieces are there at the same time. Like, he touched on it before, Pasha isn't always there, Bialy's been a bit hit and miss, he's very good at E-League, then he's been okay in this tournament. So if the stars are just going to play okay for Virtus.pro, someone like Device can do a lot for his team, and we know Zipniks can as well. So I think that's got to be step one if you want to win this match.
And something else, Janko, that's gone unnoticed has been, or unmentioned here on the desk, is the new face Glaive, right? Like, he's a Dane that hasn't seen this before. He hasn't had 14,000 fans staring down the barrel of a gun and down on that stage. What have you got for us?
I mean, that's correct, Alice. He hasn't played at a stage this big, but he has played at the big stages before. In the early stages of CSGO, he was a part of that Western Wolves lineup. That was the first team to actually really, you know, contend with NIP in their 87-0 run. And when they first announced Glaive as their stand-in, a lot of people doubted that. They thought that maybe they need someone with more firepower, but I actually initially thought that he was a great choice for them, considering that he has a lot of experience, and I think that's what you want at a major. You would want to have someone who has experience over firepower, but Glaive as well, he was an in-game leader of that Western Wolves lineup, but he was one of those fragging in-game leaders. There's nothing wrong with his, you know, individual skill, saying that he's not the type of a blade, so to speak, right? Where, you know, his individual play takes a hit because of what he does for the team. So I think he's been a great fit for Astralis here.
Awesome, and we'll be seeing more from Glaive, of course, in our first map. The map is Overpass. Now, the veto did go down, and unfortunately, we can't represent that just yet. We'll have that throughout the day. Yank, did you manage to catch a glimpse of it on the screens?
Yeah, I saw that Astralis actually decided to pick Overpass as their first map because VP's usual ban is Dust 2, and Astralis has to veto nuke at this point. So the problem for Astralis, I'm a bit surprised by this because, you know, you have two stand-ins. Maybe you want to go for a map that's more loose, like Mirage or maybe even Cash. But me seeing them picking Overpass, I presume that, you know, they had a plan for this, so they probably had Zonic practice a couple of smokes, flashes, because Overpass is an extremely tactical map, and you want to have some of those set executes coming into it.
Duncan, Overpass. Was this what you were expecting when you were brainstorming the veto?
Yeah, this was the obvious one. I think actually, even if they'd have had Kirby and they'd have had Device in the Dupree in the lineup, this would have been the map they'd have picked because it's been the strongest ever since Kirby joined the lineup. They've always been one of the best teams on it overall, but a couple of their other maps took a hit. So against Virtus Pro, I mean, a lot of the maps that Astralis would have wanted to play are right in the Virtus Pro wheelhouse. So I think this was the best one to pick overall. The problem is, it's also a very strong Virtus Pro map. Like, you go and look at the last few losses they've had, they're to the best teams on Overpass in the world. Now, admittedly, one of them was Astralis. I think that's also a confidence thing. Like, we know we've beaten them on this map before. So I have to say, Astralis, this is the must-win for me. If they don't win this, I actually think Virtus Pro can 2-0. They're good enough on Overpass to do it.
And with that said, this is where the question goes next, Blue. It is just the first map prediction, but for Overpass, Astralis' best chance, in Duncan's words. What do you think?
This is statistically, over the past 3 months, the best map for Astralis. The only time they lost it recently was to Cloud9 at ECS. The problem is that, again, the roster's so different by this point that I still feel like those factors are going to affect them too adversely. So going into this match, I still have to go with Virtus Pro on this one.
Okay, believing in Virtus Pro, I'm sure the Polish corner of the arena will be very happy with that one. They're already here, they're already whipping out the Virtus Pro flags. Yanka, what about you?
I'm going to go for Virtus Pro here because I feel that they're going to treat Astralis basically like they treat some of the North American teams on this map, and I feel they're going to be, since they picked the CT side, I feel they're going to come out with that no respect Counter-Strike, and it's going to be really tough for Astralis.
And finally, Duncan, are you going to be joining in?
Yeah, I think Virtus Pro will take this. Like, I think for Astralis, the key has to be, on this terrorist side, they really have to play with that no fear style that they actually showed in the match against Dignitas, where they thought, you know, let's just go for it. Like, forget about the safe, conservative Astralis style of play, because Virtus Pro, they play actually a similar style on CT side, very defensive, and they just make you come to them and fight them in aim duels. So it's going to be tough for the guys from Astralis, but I think they have to make it chaotic. They have to kind of up the tempo in this game, which goes a little bit against their normal style.
We're going to find out how it does go down. Overpass is almost ready. Ladies and gentlemen, will Astralis manage to make it with two broken wings, or will Virtus Plow? Oh, I need to call them that, excuse me. Plow and Plow. Let's try it again. Virtus Plow start running over in towards our first map. The desk does think so, believing in the Polish side, even on Astralis' best chance. Let's go ahead and jump into it. It is our first quarterfinal, our first map, and the first game of day 4 here for ESL One Cologne. We'll be back in just a moment.
Blood, sweat, and tears quite literally have gone into these two teams' journeys to get to this stage in front of you guys here at the LANXESS Arena. Moses, we have quite the game on our hands, don't we?
Oh, we absolutely do. Especially because Virtus Pro, I mean, this is a team that always brings it in these big stadium events, these big high-pressure situations. One of the most exciting teams to watch, actually.
Very true, and in such an occasion as well. Normally, most days of the week, you'd argue this would be Astralis, you know, going through the motions here almost, but obviously tragedy struck, everything kind of fell apart, and now they stand with two stand-ins. How much is this going to affect the game? It's already been discussed on the desk. It's kind of swung everything back around towards Virtus Pro's favor, but Astralis have shown there's some real grit still left with them.
Yeah, the biggest issue is, like Yanko said on the desk, if Virtus Pro comes out with that really aggressive, that no-respect style, that's where you're really going to see someone like Zonic struggle to be able to handle that, to be able to watch his spot on the map and withstand that pressure from Virtus Pro. I mean, it's a big disadvantage for him, but this is where, you know, this is where that history is made. This is where you look at Device to come out and have some massive game that just makes history. And that's kind of what they have to rely on. Guys like Device, Zipnix and Kerrigan both had a sick day yesterday. They need repeat performances like that again. Yeah,
Zipnix is a huge factor, especially on this map. He has great performances individually, holding that B site on the CT side. But again, it's normally with that rifle duo coming on the T side that really supports Astralis, which is now Dupree and Kiebi, who aren't here, obviously. So again, this falls down to that same point.
It was super cool seeing them walk out with the Dupree jersey. That was pretty epic. I like that a lot. That was really cool. So hope he's doing well tuning in at the hospital bed.
Yeah, I'm sure he is watching this game with bated breath, and so are all of we. And ladies and gentlemen, as the clock ticks down, we are seconds away from starting off the very first game here in the LANXESS Arena. Do make sure you get yourselves ready. I can imagine that Polish corner is getting pretty excited right now. As you can see, everyone getting themselves prepared.
That Polish corner, by the way, is right next to the Astralis team. That is is in that corner, and you know they're going to get loud. You know they're going to be able to hear that. So just more pressure added onto the Astralis side.
All right, ladies and gents, it's time to get loud. We are into the first game here, and starting out on the T side, it is Astralis, and on the CT side, Virtus Pro to wait. And Duncan said already, you want to see that aggressive, you want to see that very confrontational style from Astralis, create mayhem. And already, the man who did pretty much wonders before in the pistols, Zonic, going to be heading up towards long.
Man, they're sticking together here. They don't want anyone to get picked off. Pasha just had a quick peek, spotted a couple, but I don't think they realized that all 5 members of Astralis are remaining grouped up. Device is going to stick isolated towards long, the other 4 working their way through. Bathrooms just pushing back any kind of force, any kind of defense. They're going to transition right now down the stairs.
And Device might get all of this information. He's taking his time through the toilets. He's going to be just trying to find out what's coming his way. Once he sees these guys, that's a start. Device finds one, looks for the follow-up, can't get it. Taz denies anything more to start with, but the B-side's looking pretty bare so far. Bialy watching the cross, but that's about all they're going to have. So this could be a bomb plant coming in for Astralis.
Yeah, it's going to have to be a retake. Glave's got to be careful. He's getting flanked out by Pasha, and he wins that battle. That's critical. No pressure from that angle now. They can focus all towards the rotation. Taz up top, hiding behind the smoke.
This is going to be a tough retake. They do have the kill on Taz, but it's Zonic again, joined by Glaive. Glaive with 3 already. This is beautiful work from Astralis, keeping 4 up, and Kerrigan closes out. Astralis kicked this one off with a bang, already a bomb plant. A hell of a lot of kills as well to boot. And well, Virtus Pro just got run around the map.
And a really good start by Glaive. That heads-up play to check the flank, get that first kill, and then 2 more following that. Device, I spoke to Device about Glaive specifically. He said Glaive's the one player on this team that consistently beats him in aim maps when they're warming up. He said his aim is crazy, but even just, you know, when you saw Glaive today, this is the biggest crowd he's played in. This is a whole new stage, a whole new environment that he's never experienced. You could tell there were a little bit of jitters, but he is a player that they're going to look for to pick up some of the slack.
Exactly, and what a great start for him. Just momentum-wise, confident-wise, get those kills in early. Even if they're not mostly the critical kills, it's enough to get that confidence there to feel comfortable on such a big stage. So looking into this round, though, just very default from Astralis, sitting super far back here, just seeing what Virtus Pro might be having come in their way, and why not? You can't really blame them. There is a little bit of danger on the Virtus Pro side, considering what they bought.
This is where Astralis has to be very, very careful. They're spread out across the map. There's a couple Deagles on the Virtus Pro side, and this Scout as well. If either of these Deagles or the Scout rain out and get a kill, I mean, this is where you can start to see Astralis really get peeled apart in this anti-eco. Neo is going to be the first one to take damage, and Pasha misses the shot. But now they know where the Scout is, and you can see, I believe it's actually Device who just falls away from that battle, doesn't want to mess with it.
Yeah, you can't blame him, but you can see that maybe Virtus Pro are expecting them to be corralled towards this B site. 3 players extremely present. One, as you just saw them, being Bialy, joined by Taz. Device still trying to sell this, trying to still show this present, but information's being gathered. Taz! The Eagles come to play. backs off. He's still got Bialy down there as well, so this could be a disaster for Astralis if they don't check it, and here we go. The CZ comes out, the nade to follow, and one by one, Astralis are getting picked apart here.
Yeah, and a very fundamental error from Kerrigan, the first player bringing the bomb as well, so it's down. They have to commit to this B bomb site. 35 seconds left. They still have so many players to find. The rotation is on. 4 members of Virtus Pro are here, and they wipe out all of Astralis. Zipnix gets one, but that's not enough. Virtus Pro responds with the second round.
And it looked like hesitation, it looked nervous, it looked kind of scared to commit to that site after they lost out with the bomb going down in that spot as well. That's such a huge problem.
And that was a key. That was what the analysts talked about, that we need to see Astralis be aggressive, be assertive, and play that own, you know, that style that just throws caution to the wind and goes for things. Taz slows him down with that initial headshot, but that's the thing when you play these slow-paced second rounds after winning the pistol, the deagles get dangerous because those kind of shots that Taz has just ring out and pick you apart.
Yeah, Thorin said it quite aptly on the desk then. No fear needs to come out from Astralis. Kind of get that mentality away from them. Stop, don't play those slow games. Don't play into that style that favors Virtus Pro so heavily. But again, it's easy to say it, it's tough to do. And now we're going to see, obviously, the ramifications, the follow-on of what happened in that prior round. They're down to the Tech-9s. But again, these can shine here. If they can keep that site nice and close range, if they can cut off people like Taz or Bialy, they can get a step towards a site, for example. Get the bomb plant in, that'd be perfect.
And Astralis is fully invested into this round. Everyone's bought out except for Kerrigan, who's going to be the AWPer, so they want to make sure the next gun round he'll be able to have that weapon. He was a force with it yesterday against Dignitas in that series, providing so many opening kills for his team. Question now, you can see Device is being utilized out towards long. This is a position he played in the past. He's very good at isolating one-on-ones at this A bomb site if he can work his way up long, and that's where they're going to want him to have that success, because that peels apart the defense if he can.
And it's actually keeping 3 players relatively present towards the A site as well. You can see Snacks himself there, but Pasha's not too far away, neither is Neo. So they could get a favorable push towards that B site if possible. Taz still being a little bit cautious of this, and rightly to be so, because there's still so many players just waiting, trying to make that hit towards B. The clock is running down. Astralis showing a little bit of air of caution here. Again, keeping Virtus Pro guessing. Smoke will go down to deny Taz the glimpse. One towards upper. Gonna make Neo have to work for it, but here comes the hit. It's gonna be Astralis trying to make their play through. Bialy spots out one. The spray comes in. It's Neo to catch out Zipnix, but the bomb's planted. And now maybe those pistols can find something. It's down to Zonic and Device. Both picking up one so far in a 2v3.
They're gonna fall back and readjust now. Still, the retake is very slow-paced. All 3 members of Virtus Pro pretty much in line. You can see Pasha jumping down. This is where it starts. No nades left on the Astralis side. That's a good shot from Zonic initially. Flash comes out, and there's Device. He falls over towards Cal, and Pasha gets the last one. So Astralis can't hold on, but they get the bomb plant. They do a little bit of damage.
Yeah, superb retake, keeping those 3 players alive, as you said. Did take damage, but everyone playing together. As soon as they cleared out water, they're like, okay, they're playing for this plant. They're sitting back. They're going to try and pick us off here. And they had none of it. So a lot of rifles kept. Virtus Pro starting to look good. Nice little build into this one. It's still such early days. This is still a best of 3, keep in mind, so anything can change at this point. And it's a fairly decent map pool for Astralis if they can get that kind of momentum building behind them. But again, this round is going to be probably not much to be seen from Astralis, considering their buy last round was quite heavily invested. This one, of course, they have to kind of forego.
They do have Neo and Bialy on pretty low in terms of their money, so just any kills they can get at this point would be a bonus. Snacks has the shotgun. He's going to try and build up a little bit of bank with that bonus money that comes out. But again, Astralis spreading out across the map in a bit of a default. Zipnix is being aggressive, and if Glaive comes to the smoke, that's going to be no fun. Although actually, Snacks isn't paying attention and he gets caught out.
Yeah, Zipnix, just with the Glock, actually finding Snacks, which is pretty special. And Pasha, just going to be keeping control of this, not going to let anything slide. Still retaining his kind of aggression as well. Device isn't far away, so it could be a bit of a problem there. But let's see if Device can find anything. Pasha, as said, pushed up, relatively isolated. No one there to really watch his flank. It's a bit of a risk, but Pasha now being danced with by 2. Still comes out on top. The tango's working for him this round. This is clean from Pasha, whose performance has been questioned. Finding a little bit of a confidence boost to start off with here.
Zipnix all alone, so they don't do the damage they want to do, and there's no chance of him getting a bomb plant here. And Shotgun's not going to do much at this range, and it's looking like Pasha's going to be set up to get the ace, to get all 5 kills in this round. That would be big for him. Such a huge player for this Virtus Pro side. He really is. At times we've seen him be the heart, basically the engine of that Virtus plow that we always mention. Oh, but he gets wrecked right now. That shotgun takes him down very low, and he's just got to fall away. Doesn't want to have to rebuy, doesn't want to lose the AK-47. He's going to let Taz take up the mantle, although he falls. Nice shot from Zipnix.
Oh, I couldn't quite get his hands to it. Neo instantly on that one, saying, Taz, don't you dare let him get a rifle on that right now. Not in these instances. And Neo's another name we haven't mentioned too much, just because it's still very early on in this game, but his performances have been coming in, you could argue sometimes consistently now, but he's a player, if he does hit that peak, can be such a huge factor. But yeah, Pasha with a big beginning into this early stage of the first map here in Overpass. Bear in mind, this is a quarterfinal. Whichever team walks away with both maps into their hands will be going towards the semi-finals. But we are back into a goodbye for Astralis. They have the AWP coming out as well with Carrigan, something that caused huge problems for Dignitas previously. But Snax is ready and willing for the challenge.
This is where Carrigan has to do something, but Snax is going to win that first duel. Carrigan seemed like he knew it was coming, but he couldn't find him over the top of the smoke. Nicely done from Virtus Pro. You could see with that one kill, everyone's falling back. Snax is repositioned out towards long, but Virtus Pro can afford to play much more passively now.
Trying to find a way back into this is going to be difficult. Virtus Pro known for playing quite deep on these sides. And oh, Snax right around the back from Device. He's going to find another. Good stuff from Snax.
This is that no-respect style. Snax being aggressive, getting the opening kill, changing his position and maintaining that aggression. It catches Device completely off guard. He was not expecting that angle.
This is a dangerous Virtus Pro. If they're feeling confident, not playing into that whole beautiful storyline, that romantic storyline of Astralis, this is where they get themselves through looking pretty darn solid. But there's still 3 players for Astralis here. They still have enough utility to build themselves towards a hit. And it looks like Glave's actually already looking for that aim duel. Bialy's the one who's going to be on the other side, who does have the advantage of just holding that angle down. Unless a flash or something could be set to play to allow Glaive a cleaner angle towards this, but already the counter flash is coming in. They know the time's running low, they know what's coming their way, and Glaive steps out and wins it. That's going to open up an opportunity here. Taz instantly has to respect this, has to be cautious of what else could be coming his way. It's 28 seconds, they need to make that hit.
Yeah, Snax on the flank, Pasha's with him as well. This is going to get shut down. Taz gets that kill, Glaive responds. He's got 2 kills, but so low on HP. That's a nice shot onto Snax. He does have the bomb, but he's not expecting Pasha to follow up on that flank, and that's going to be his undoing. Pasha with a great play behind Snax, and he's even going to salvage the AWP. Off the back of those 2 opening kills from Snax, Virtus Pro closes down that B-bomb site.
And if you're Astralis, you need to start looking at finding an answer to that early aggression. There has to be something to be done, whether it's just winning those angels, maybe expecting someone to kind of boost up. As soon as you see that smoke down on the stairs, you've got to be predicting that there's going to be an AWP there or something to pressure you. Again, that start was phenomenal for Snax, and of course, he did really just robust that round for them.
And Snax is the player you don't want to start catching fire if you're Astralis, because he's one of those players that has such an uncanny knack for making the right play in terms of his positioning on the map. And if he's going to be that aggressive, if he's going to be very quick on those flanks, Astralis is not going to have a lot of options available to him on this T side.
And it looks like you can see Astralis trying to build themselves into a quicker B hit, but all that utility just being poured into their pockets. Carrigan down to 52 already, kind of being swept back from that hit.
2 smokes and 2 flashes for the Astralis side. Light investment for them, no armor, some upgraded pistols, so they're just trying to get a bomb plant here. The losing bonus is going to start, it's going to be full into the next round, so they'll have that, but any money they can get to help build things up would be nice. And that's the entire goal here, is just to get this bomb plant, maybe a couple kills, because the money on the Virtus Pro side is still a little bit shaky. It's not a very established economy, so this damage at this point, Astralis, they're still not, you know, crushed just yet. They're still not suffocated. If they can just win 1 round, that could break the economy, maybe 2 rounds, and then they're right back into it.
And they know that. They're pressuring these guys now. They are trying to make the plays off the back of it, but you do have that AWP making its presence noticed on the A side, but you can see them all getting pretty darn close here. You've got Pasha watching that close angle as well. Snax holding up on long, but it's going to be the hit coming towards A right about now. Pasha needs to land these shots. They line up and they get torn down. 3 back-to-back. No hope of a bomb plant to be seen. And Astralis again gets them packing in. Clean rounds going in for Virtus Pro means that money is going to start looking better.
Yeah, that's exactly what they needed. All 5 members survived, so the money builds up. And now with the full losing bonus, all 5 rounds, you can see a double ops setup comes out for Astralis. So Device is going to pick up that second one. Carrigan's going to have the other. This will slow things down a little bit. They haven't really done anything super fast quite yet, but they're going to want to allow time for Carrigan and Device both to try and peek into these bomb sites, to try and get some kind of a pick off. Although a little bit interesting.
Oh, the 3-play stack. And look at Neo. Neo and Pasha are doing this. They're going up super aggressive. Deep nades come out. It doesn't actually catch anyone though. So for now, Device manages to stay unscathed and they fall back. So again, keeping that really pace, you know, quite up in the air. It's hard to guess what Virtus Pro are doing.
Well, the thing is, Virtus.pro just postures for that aggression, so even moving forward, that's going to slow everything down. You can see how far back Astralis is playing right now. They want to make sure they're not getting punished by this, so in the future, going forward, just even that presence of throwing a couple nades and falling away for Virtus.pro, that's going to eat so much time off the clock. You can see 1 minute and 15 seconds now, and Astralis has gained nothing across the map.
Yeah, the theory of fear of a nade certainly does kick in, as to the fact that you can't push, you have to check all those corners, you have to be very, very conscious of it, but Karrigan's got a good step towards his B side, but you said it quite perfectly that byali and Taz already sitting so far back, they have to commit to even take these fights, something that was outlined on the desk. Quite a characteristic, I guess, of Virtus.pro at this point, but Device is still looking as well, not going to find much, but it's all looking like B, and it's byali and Taz waiting on the other side. Look how far out Xyp9x has gone.
Well, when they're playing this far back, when they feel no presence, actually Xyp9x crouching right beneath that ramp, he can get to the other side without being seen, and he's got Karrigan covering him, and there it is. Xyp9x comes in for the entry, does massive damage to Neil, but can't get the kill. Taz responds, and there's Karrigan chiming in, but byali's gonna stop the plant. He's gonna maintain his position in water, but Xyp9x hunts him down.
Great 3v3, but Taz is not done just yet. On the verge of the smoke, Device slaps him back, and now down to 2. Pasha and Snax need to do the heavy lifting. The first will come in for Snax. Xyp9x waiting on the site itself. Device. From short, Pasha steps out, gets punished. It's all down to Snax, and this bomb site is under wraps. The bomb is yet to be planted. Device puts it down, and now Snax looks desperately waiting.
Oh, he tags him through the box. That is dirty. Xyp9x, though, still has the prime position right in water. So hard to retake this bomb site when you have a player there.
My word, Snax, you are getting close. Close does not get you the round at this point. Ball banging it out, Device takes a swing, and well, it's a miss, and here comes Snax, he plows forwards! He takes down Xyp9x, but the time is ticking, he has a kit, but Device playing the time well, but he's getting chased, and Snax!
What is this?
He gets him! Absolutely unbelievable, and if you're Astralis, that is absolute heartbreak. That should have been the round they had in the bag. They had the numbers, they had the position, but they didn't have Snax under wraps.
That is an incredible play from Snax. That round was all but lost, and this is exactly what you have to do if you're Astralis. A pause comes out. There's no reason they should have lost that. It was perfect positioning for both of them. You could see it almost felt like Snax lures them into a false sense of security, just shooting, trying to shoot through the wall, trying to spam a little bit, getting Astralis comfortable, thinking he's not going to go for this, trying to get something lucky before he falls away, and then he pounces with that Tech 9. Xyp9x is caught off guard. That's a battle he definitely should have won.
You can see it already, that early start for Pasha, certainly helping him out in this one. Very good play, but it's Taz as well, a player that actually in some of his interviews was saying he's just feeling good at the moment. It's something that he can't quite put his finger on, he can't say what's happening. It's just the fact that he's feeling confident, something's working, and hopefully he can keep that up. The timeout has been called. I think it was actually Virtus.pro's timeout. I think I see an admin, so yeah, it's a technical pause, so they'll just be working through that, and it might actually be a good bit of respite for Astralis to use this and just reset mentally. Of course, no talking during this, they can be very quiet, but it's about getting that mental reset, just slow things down, but oh my word, I'm seeing what's coming out here. You guys can't see it, and I don't want to say it just yet, but that can't help.
I mean, this is just, that's just so tough to lose that round if you're Astralis. So yeah, this pause is a little bit of a blessing in disguise. Like you said, they can't talk, but it is just sit there and get back into that focus. What an incredible round from Snax, though, and that's just what's entirely possible. That's why he's such a dangerous player. To be able to pull off things like that, very few people would even think to go for that round, much less be able to pull it in their favor. And it actually looked at a certain point like Virtus.pro players were scared to take those fights.
Can we just appreciate how early it is and people are already tucking into the beers?
It's never too early for a beer.
Stage manager, you wanna? But no, nice to see people enjoying the event. It's already getting pretty filled out. I can imagine as the event goes on, it will be even more so. But you can see these guys just keep themselves, a little bit of sign language going out there from Snax. Nice. And maybe some, I don't know, rock, paper, scissors.
Why not?
They didn't say no sign language, they just said no talking. Imagine if a team learned sign language just to be able to communicate during pauses. Just to mess with the admins.
That'd be next level.
That'd be genius.
Be absolutely next level.
But yeah, looking at this one, 6-1 scoreline, it's not condemning yet. It's not a huge problem just yet, but it's certainly on the verge of becoming one. And the way they're losing these rounds, it's still quite close on occasion, but it's still just, they haven't got one in the bag. The first round they got was the pistol. They haven't been able to convert that into anything else yet.
The big issue is now, you could see, I mean, Taz and byali haven't bought up in this, but a couple of rounds ago, you know, we mentioned that the economy was low enough to where Astralis winning 1 or 2 rounds, if they had just a good win, would actually break the economy and they could get right back into it. Now the money's starting to build up for Virtus.pro. Even with that one-on-one, now it's going to start being a problem for them.
Yeah, it certainly is.
And switching to the double op as well. I mean, it almost worked. It should have worked.
Almost.
But that's an expensive tactic to keep buying back into.
It really is. It is quite a costly one, and it's quite an interesting factor, actually, the whole kind of AWPing presence between Device and Karrigan, how it's going down. We're seeing Karrigan taking much more of a prominent position throughout that role, actually, in the last couple of games, especially in that previous one against Dignitas. He was on a peak that you just don't see often.
That was a change that Astralis wanted to make coming into this major. That was a change they decided to do, was give Karrigan back the op device back onto the AK, where he can be a little bit more aggressive, a little bit more versatile. But I mean, it also once you also lose to Pre in that factor, that's when everything kind of goes to the wind, and it's like, all right, now it's just whatever these three players, this Karrigan, Xyp9x, Device, whatever they feel they can do to kind of push this team forward, they have to just take the chance.
Yeah, and my eyes will be firmly set towards Xyp9x once this game gets really underway. Once it starts building, his presence was hugely noted again. Him and Karrigan, for me, were the highlights throughout that previous game, especially against Dignitas, even prior to that, keeping themselves rolling into this one. And Xyp9x took up a role we haven't seen in a while. Of course, renowned for that kind of, not necessarily solo site play, but kind of the Crims-esque role. You see him often being such a regular, consistent player, keeping that sort of form up. But he took even more of an impactful role. He was really opening these sites, closing it down. He was becoming this really dangerous all-rounder. If he finds that form again, that could be good, but they need someone to take it up.
The tough part is Virtus Pro came to play. Pasha is having a fantastic start to this, 9-2. Taz is at 10-5. I mean, these guys are really pushing forward, and that clutch by Snax obviously is crushing. So this is a Virtus Pro that always comes to play here. So when we see Astralis with these disadvantages of already having a stand-in, now they have to use their coach. So Virtus Pro's not going to let that slide.
I love that you see the guy with the NV t-shirt on just really taking that big sip of beer like, I can't deal with this.
I mean, if he's wearing an NV t-shirt, he's have to be drinking a lot of beer today. Let's get over it.
All right, 6-1. I can hear the pauses coming through. So guys, it was just an audio issue. Do not fear. Nothing's wrong. We're going to be back in the game any second now. Virtus Pro are leading 6-1 if you're just tuning in. This is, of course, the quarterfinal. Winner of this will go to the semis. So again, a huge matchup on the line between these two. Astralis, as said, that previous win against Dignitas seemed as though that was the pinnacle of what they could achieve. But then again, they have a matchup here that theoretically they can do some work on. So we are back in the game, and the thing I wanted to talk to you about before was that auto sniper with Pasha.
Yes, that's a little bit cruel at this stage of the game. A little bit cruel from Pasha, and he's going to take that out towards long. Snax with the AWP is pushed up once again, peering over the smoke. Hasn't spotted anyone yet. He's got to be careful as well, because Glave's going to find his way. There's the auto sniper, though. Karrigan takes him down. Are they going to be expecting Snax here? That's a good trade, and Taz gets 2. That's crushing. That's
Ruined this kind of little split hit that could have really manipulated those 3 players pushed up from Virtus Pro. Now they're in a great position, but Glave's aim is on point here. Let's be very honest about this, but will he expect Snax? No! Snax comes around the corner, the AWP rings true, and Karrigan, there's too many people to look at. One left, one right, and he can't find either. It's Xyp9x now in the 1v3, barely left spawn. And Virtus Pro are ripping off their skin just to get to their nerves at the moment. This is unbelievable play. Virtus Pro, absolutely no mercy here.
And the question now is, how does Astralis handle this? Because they've shown now two rounds at least where Virtus Pro has pushed up towards Fountain, been aggressive, and it's stumped Astralis. It's got them opening kills. That time it just slaughters any plan they have. So now essentially Virtus Pro just is funneling them towards that B bomb site. They're saying you'll never make it past Fountain, so you might as well try elsewhere on the map.
Or it's like they tried to go through the underpass, they tried to go through that area, and then Taz just got 2. It was instantly like, well, nice try, guys, but if you're not going to outdo me, you're not going to undo this whole plan. So again, it's going to force Astralis into that real pinch for money. Device has still got a rifle at least, so going to be rocking the AK in this one, a touch of armor, but utility is all but missing. But still, you've got to be able to get past so many factors here. The win conditions are starting to pile up for Astralis, and they're looking pretty tough to break.
Device has an AK-47. He's going to try and do something, but there's the auto sniper on the Karrigan. So before that AK on Device can even have any impact whatsoever, they're already a man down. They have very little utility. 1 smoke and flash on Glaive, 1 flash on Zonic. So those better be perfect if they want anything to come from this. And Pasha's going to maintain aggression. He might find one more, but the timing's not with him. But just swinging out, he's gotten the tag. Zonic down so low, still challenging. He's trying to bait to allow his teammate to get closer. That's Xyp9x, and he hasn't pounced yet.
I think Pasha's kind of not necessarily aware of it, but keeping it in mind that the bomb, as seen, is pretty far away. This is a little bit of a fruitless mission at this point. Xyp9x waiting patiently, but gets smoked out, has to readjust, and again, every angle being locked down. Pasha doesn't even need the auto sniper. The USP comes in, but finally the kills do start to come out, and the auto sniper falls to the hands of Xyp9x, as Glaive does get the rifle that was previously either in the hands of Device or one of the CT sites.
What can he do from here, though? Actually pushes it right through the smoke. They don't expect that. He's going to get away for free as well. Glaive's going back to get the bomb, so 2 guns are salvaged. Glaive actually has armor and he still has that smoke. 30 seconds left, but the bomb is so far away from his sight.
And look at Neo's position. Even if they just buy time here, this would be massive. They don't necessarily have to even commit that much. Xyp9x is trying to clear. That's his job, try and clear the way to allow Glaive clean passage, but Neo is having enough of this. He doesn't like it. He doesn't like what's coming his way. Snax is also there. This is going to be almost impossible. There we go. Neo strikes. It's Xyp9x down, and now Glaive in the 1v3. 8 seconds left. He didn't even get called.
Yeah, and Neo was the insurance policy where with his positioning out towards long. That late in the round, it's so hard to clear long to go that way. It just takes a few extra seconds that they didn't have to waste. And there's so many places to clear in that bomb site and only 1 smoke to do it with. So Neo shuts him down just by positioning. 8-1 now for Virtus.pro. The aggression has been suffocating. I'm not sure if that was a misbuy last round. Zonic actually bought that AK and dropped it over towards Device. Maybe just saying, you know, I'm the coach. I'm not going to be doing anything with this weapon. Try and make something happen for us.
He did say in the interview on HOTV, he's like, well, I just dropped my team guns. That was my job. I'm dead spot. I do some work in the pistol. Then, you know what? I'll do what I can for the boys. Maybe, but it also could have been a very, very obvious misbuy as well.
Well, speaking of the pistol round, Astralis did win it. That's the only round they have, and it's been 8 straight for Virtus.pro. This time, the pressure subsides. No one from Virtus.pro pushing up, no one challenging Fountain, but again, you can see Astralis has basically been trained. If you look at the mini-map, look at Kerrigan and Device. They're so far back hiding in Playground. They don't want to mess with anything that could be pushed up.
This is the thing, you know, you look at this storyline between Astralis and how they've got here, but the fact is, this isn't the movies. You know, the romance stories don't always come true, and Virtus.pro doesn't really care about it. They're here to get further. They are here to focus on the win. And nice little bit of a challenge comes down. Pasha on move, just seemingly just going to stay there, back away eventually, and readjust. Again, seeming so cool under this pressure that Astralis want to apply, but there seems to be no bite to their bark.
At least they've forced back Pasha without taking any losses. They've taken a little bit of damage onto Glaive, and Kerrigan's now got the angle. Snax is in a tricky spot. Oh, what a flick!
God.
That is God tier. He can't get the second one. And Astralis has him pinned down. He's got to have support from his teammates to get out of here, but he maintains his aggression instead.
He knows there's another long. He saw that Device would boost it up on someone. It wasn't just the normal sat on top. It wasn't the jump. It was someone there as well. Hence, why Snax is so drilled in towards this. Everyone, though, from Astralis repositioning, as has Virtus.pro. The hit's about to come in. You can see the molly's being put down. The smoke's coming in. But Pasha, with the auto sniper, rings out one, but he can't find another. It's Snax again, following up with the goods. And now Kerrigan gets destroyed. Virtus.pro have turned up to play, ladies and gents, and this is not a pretty picture.
That 1 kill from Snax on Device out towards long, it's such an insane shot to hit. But no one from Astralis wants to mess with him after that. They give up that long presence. That's supposed to be a pinch onto the A bomb site, but when Device gets knocked out, they're just like, all right, we all have to just hit up main. And that just pushes him right towards the auto sniper, right towards Neo, who's hiding in the site, and no utility for Astralis to flush him out. 9-1 now.
And you can hear it. The timeout's been called by Astralis. Kerrigan putting that one in. Not sure if it's a tactical or not. I think it might have just been a little bit of an issue there. Not sure what was going on. But it is unpaused, so we're back underway nice and quickly. I think it actually was a tactical pause, so very quick to come out of it, though.
No, it's repause now.
There we go. Okay. So, 9-1. If you're Astralis, right, put yourself in their position here. You've been hammered by aggression. You've been struggling to break into the sides. How much more can they go to? How much more until you just say, we're kind of outdone on this? Of course, you don't give up, but is there answers here? At
the moment, they're their best chance. I mean, they need to start fighting fire with fire, be aggressive themselves, stick together, stop spreading out, because when they've spread out, that's what's allowing, you know, Snax to get that kill. Some of these picks we've seen out towards Fountain. That's when we've seen, you know, Virtus.pro, you know, take out 2 or 3 members of Astralis and leave the other 2 or 3 just remaining on the other side of the map. They need to try and get aggressive on their own, because Virtus.pro's had no pressure put on them.
This is the thing, you look at Astralis and you see the players who are missing, who the standards have come in for, and it is the rifle duo. It's the rifle buddies. When they open these sites, they come in together, they get the good trades, they build off each other's presence, they watch each other's angles, they play perfectly together. If you're not having that in these slow plays, of course you're going to get punished. So as you said, maybe a little bit of a dash of aggression, really push Virtus.pro, keep the numbers advantage as long as you can. Sure, you're probably going to have to take some damage from the utility, because that is well set in its place. You've got mollies for days, you've got nades galore. It's not going to be a pretty picture, but you might have a chance at this.
Well, we mentioned some of the keys to this game for Astralis, what they were going to need to try and pull out a miracle. Device, we said he would have to have a big game. He's down at 3 kills. Kerrigan, who we saw yesterday against Dignitas, be such a force, especially on entries, which is what they're missing with Dupree out. They're missing some of those opening kills. Kerrigan as well only has 3 kills, so they're not having any success early on in these rounds. They need to find someone has to step up and get that opening kill, force the defense back and have a 5-on-4 where you have some form of map control.
This has to be what Astralis is going to come up with here. There's no other way. You can't come back and go, well, let's do the slow picks again, because they're working really well. It has to be the answer they're coming up with. But still, this is still uncharted territory in a way, because Virtus.pro haven't yet to have to play a best of 3 either. So we've seen them, doing well on one map, of course, making their way through. Very nice pickups throughout the games that they've had so far. They didn't exactly have a very easy route. They took down Team Liquid, for example. They played a good couple of games and they've looked strong, but it's more how far can they take that? Can they keep that pressure up towards the end? Again, this map pool can get very interesting if we make it far enough.
Virtus.pro came into this major with a lot of questions about what level they were going to be playing at when they got here. We've seen them have a very rough 2016. But even against an Astralis that has Zonic, that has Glaive, even against a full-strength Astralis, I think this Virtus.pro is playing very, very strong at the moment. And here's the switch up. 4 members for Astralis heading towards the B bomb site. Glaive as well in the staircase, but there's that opening kill. Kerrigan finally gets one. Bialy as well. He's blind. Kerrigan with the second. That's what they need, but Taz and Bialy respond. But it's only for a moment. It's down to just Pasha and a 1-on-3.
This is what we wanted to see. There is the Octane play, that high Octane pressure that should come in, and Device closes down. Astralis finally break the curse, at least for this round. Again, they need to get the rest of these to stand a good chance here. They want to build up as much as possible on this T side. And as you said, the Virtus.pro's money, it's not been completely flush. It's still fine. They can still withstand this, but it's not perfect, and it might eventually start to crumble a touch here, but Astralis back onto the goodbye. They're in a good position, but the pace needs to keep to this sort of point.
Yeah, the economy for Virtus.pro is now pretty much, it's almost depleted. Pasha's down very low, so is Bialy. The other members might be able to withstand some, but next round we might, if they lose this, it could be a force buy, and again, Astralis, 4 members towards B, gonna be very aggressive, and Snax rotates over to try and put a stop to it. Device wins that duel, he reads it perfectly.
This is what we want to see, but here comes that wall of utility. Here's all of that purchase being poured into these access points for Astralis. They can't just step in towards this site now. Now they have to hit the brakes for a second. Can they pick up that pace again? Can they find a new approach? Or will they fall into the same trap that's hindered them before?
The good thing about that pick from Device is Glaive doesn't have to be aggressive. Oh, what a boost, Kerrigan. Huge onto Neo, not expecting that whatsoever. So Astralis now, out of this timeout, overwhelms them with aggression and now has peeled them apart.
And they know that Neo's generally been over towards A, for a good couple of rounds. It's pick your poison now. Do you go towards Pasha? Do you try and take him on, buy those toilets? Or do you think, maybe Taz and Bialy would be a better choice here? But at the moment, with such numbers, they can make their mind up as they go. 5v3. You're going to need some hero-level performance from the likes of Pasha here to keep this one into check. Zonic, Device, Kerrigan, all starting to wander their way through towards A. Glaive not far away, Zipnik still present on the rotate, making sure no one can get around behind them too quickly, but it looks as though Virtus.pro are working this one out. The flash of smokes come in, trying to keep, again, Bialy and Taz here, but look at this. Pasha's going to be right around behind them. No one's checked it. Pasha has them all lined up. This could be absolutely terrifying. Pasha starts it off. That Zipnik's gone. Can they turn in time? He gets down 2. It's down to Zonic to make a mad dash. He's going to try and get to the site, get the bomb down. Kerrigan going to hold the push through as well, and this 3v2 could still be possible.
Pasha did the best he could, but still Astralis forces their way forward. Smoke and fire blocking off these choke points for the Virtus.pro retake. Gotta try and find something soon. 2-on-3. Bialy's already in the site, but Kerrigan wins that. Taz now in a 1-on-2, but he's got to fall away. He's too low, can't take any more damage, so he's gonna try and fall away and save this weapon.
Kerrigan's gonna let him more than anything. He's the one who could probably chase it, already Device so far back, but again, these rounds are so integral now for Astralis.
Glaive is actually the hero in that round by dying. Because Device gets that pick, this is some of the small details that come into play. Because Device gets that pick, Glaive can play more passively at that stairwell. And he actually pushes up very late to make sure his teammates aren't going to get flanked down at the A bomb site. The fact that he comes so late and Pasha kills him first buys time for Astralis to respond to it. If Pasha turns that corner and Glaive doesn't get killed, then he's got 3 members of Astralis lined up running into that A bomb site.
Absolutely, and you said it in the prior round that money was almost depleted for Virtus.pro, very much on that tipping point. Now we're down to Scouts, we're down to Mag 7s. Still an AWP with Snax though, so certainly not impossible to see something come out of it. 2 rifles as well between Taz and Bialy. So again, Astralis finding a couple of answers here for Virtus.pro, but this is still very much early in the first half. There's still a couple of rounds to be played out. This is certainly not all over just yet, but look at Kerrigan. This man's, a man possessed at this point. Flash comes in, slows him down, but will it stop him? We've got 3 players now on B. This is the response that Virtus.pro have built up here. They want to be present. They want to take these fights, and they're going to have to be ready for it.
And it all comes down to the fact that they've dominated Astralis every time they've gone towards Fountain. So they know the success in these past 2 rounds from Astralis has come towards this heavy lean towards the B bomb site. This boost again, is it gonna work twice? It looks like it might, it almost does, but Neo, he's not gonna let it happen. Nice shot with the scout. Now Taz aggression finds Glaive as well.
And Device has been pushed back. Pasha has been dominant over by Long as well. This is looking like a bit of a struggle here for Astralis with the 3 players remaining and Device being so low. This one is not in the bag here. Again, Device waiting so patiently, desperate Pasha to walk around that corner, but will he go for it? Device, 9 HP, flash to hand, comes out, the timing's not on his side, and Pasha still finds Xyp9x. That is devastating here. The trade out comes in, but Zonic looking to try and punish, try and get ahead of the curve, but will they even predict Snax to be here as well?
Device had a nade out, I was watching that angle the whole time and just pulled a nade out at the wrong moment. Unfortunate. Bialy's got to play so passively inside the bomb site. Zonic's trying to wrap around towards Long, but he's going to find him. Free kill, and now Device. 20 seconds left, 9 HP. Snax is here, and he lands the shot. Not going to miss that one. Virtus Pro back to their winning ways.
Dashes of aggression here and there. No easy opener for Karrigan as well. Neo just slapping him down with that scout. That was pretty devastating. And Astralis never really building up into this. No plant in that prior round as well. Gonna mean their money is down in the dumps. They're down to as much as they can invest pretty much here. A couple of rifles, a couple of Tech 9s, but they are not good enough to really be playing into this one unless they go for those all-inside hits. If they can commit through, if they can deal with that initial damage, if they can suffer that initial strain, we could see something.
Four spot here. 4 members again for Astralis towards this B bomb site. This is the only way they've had success in these gun rounds. And Device is going to be the one leading his way through Monster to challenge Bialy. That's the opening kill. He gets a second one as well. Keeps spraying, does damage, but there's Taz. Over by Sandbags, catches Karrigan off guard. And so quickly, it's a 5-on-2.
It looks like Bialy and Taz themselves are very, very comfortable here on this B side. They've been tested maybe twice and not come up with the goods, but that was with the boost in mind. But Glaive still fighting the good fight for Astralis, finding Pasha, but Snax on the long flank. He knows that they're not coming back. He can almost keep tabs on this quite perfectly, allowing these guys to focus pretty much everywhere else. So now Glaive and Xyp9x going to split up, try and find a new avenue of approach.
What they could do here, since they're split at the moment, it might be Xyp9x, he's throwing his nades. If Glaive tries to make a move now and gets one pick, that might buy the opportunity Xyp9x needs, but those nades are just going to try and be a fake. It's actually succeeded. It's pulled Bialy away. It's made Taz a little bit more passive in this B bomb site, and now Glaive's going to make his move. Hasn't spotted Taz just yet, but they could get into a battle. It's going to come down to timing of where they're peeking. And Bialy up top, there it is, nice shot from Glaive. And he seems to know Taz is in water.
He's got to understand that he's going to be around here somewhere. The high pop flash comes out, he'll catch Taz for a second, but it's long enough. Xyp9x takes him down. And what was a 4v2 is now a 2v2, and it's looking more and more possible. But Snax and Neo, the scout, may not be ideal, but Neo showed that he does have some prowess with this gun merely moments ago. Glaive in a great position, though. Going to make this hard work on the retake now. Neo. Flash comes out, Xyp9x completely unaware, caught with his pants down, and now it's all in Glaive's hands. The man who had to step in initially for this lineup has to go big for them, spots out them both, he gets another! He has to get 4 though, Snax left in the 1v1 now. Just touches the 1v1, he's defusing right now, Snax! He gets it done! Glaive gets a kill, but it doesn't matter in the end. And what's a round again coming out from Virtus Pro?
And Snax just gambling that Glaive, knowing that Snax has the AWP, is not going to make that mad dash. He's got to be very cautious. Got to take his time, because even if he goes aggressive there right off the bat, and Snax has the op out, then he falls. So plays Glaive perfectly, despite some very nice shots and getting his Astralis back into the round. I mean, that was a 2-on-5 though, so Virtus Pro's got to be careful with those kinds of rounds.
And for me, it's all been Glaive being the man to really become quite the monster in this, but sadly not enough to close out rounds for Astralis. It's been here, there, and everywhere. It's the consistency that's lacking, but speaking of consistent, it's Snax again with the opener. Device, get back, and almost gets a follow-up. He needs to be cautious now, though, but look who's supporting Pasha. This could be insane. Glaive's just gonna wander down. It's all but a clever ruse. Pasha misses it. He's completely called out. Glaive's got away with this. How on earth is this possible? Glaive, he finally gets called out. Pasha turns around, gets the idea of what's coming his way, and now Zonic tries to respond, but it's not good enough. Pasha ready and willing for all of these possible trades and gets denied every single possibility for Astralis.
Pasha and Snax working together so well these past few rounds. Karrigan falls in the end. That's going to be a dominant first half for Virtus Pro on the CT side. 12-3. It was all the early aggression for Virtus Pro that sets the tone, and Astralis never really could adjust to it and figure out a way to break through.
This is truly a devastating half if you're Astralis coming into this. Of course, it was a bit of a magical tale to see them even having a chance at the quarterfinals. But guys, do stay tuned. We'll be back with the second half in just a second's time. And it was a devastating start for Astralis here on their first steps towards this big stage. Not the half you would have wanted. However, Virtus Pro, on the other hand, having an insane beginning for themselves.
For me, this half is started off by Pasha and Snacks. Snacks with the early aggression with that off, so many picks that he was able to come away from. But it was Pasha who was just a force over towards bathrooms, over towards the top of the stairwell. I mean, he just didn't let Astralis pass any time they made any progress whatsoever. And we have to remember as well, when Virtus Pro won the major, Pasha was their best player on that lineup that actually took that in Katowice just a few years back. So him playing this well, it bodes well for Virtus Pro moving forward.
And it's scary, isn't it? I was about to say, how long has it been since we've been able to sing the praises of someone like Pasha? It feels like it's been a long time in the making. And to be fair, compared to the other teams coming into this and the routes other teams have had to take, this has felt like Virtus Pro almost went under the radar a little. They've just kind of gone through the motions, but now we're having to pay attention. Now we're in the quarterfinals, and now we are a couple of rounds away from them getting that first map under their belt. However, Astralis have 3 rounds to support them here to go forward. It's not going to be easy, but it is possible.
Well, the tough part is they have to start out with that pistol round, and they won the first half and only have 3 rounds off of a pistol round win because they lost the second. So it's not just, they have to be able to carry forward, they have to be able to find something that consistently works because they can never figure anything out on their T side to really cause damage to the defense of Virtus Pro. Now they have to stop this engine, this plow, and Kerrigan long range. He spots a lot out, he's taking some shots, but he's going to be forced back, doesn't take too much damage, has a lot of intel. The question is, I mean, this is very similar to Astralis' pistol round. How is Virtus Pro going to adjust from here?
Astralis are reading into it quite heavily, at least for now. They had a lot of players on towards A, but whether or not they stay there is the next big thing. And as you highlighted, this is very reminiscent of what we saw from Astralis, taking themselves throughout the map, using that Glock train, almost just pulling players left, right, and center, making it hard to commit. Passion needs to still sell that they're on A, but I think people are going to start working out this is not an A hit coming. Device and Zipnix, you better be prepared for what is about to walk towards your site. As no, look at this. What is this play? They are going, it's going on a tour of the map. They're like, well, we've got enough rounds. We might as well just enjoy, you know, really what comes into Overpass. It's a beautiful map.
They're actually relying on these decoys to be some kind of a fake, and the fact that there's no pressure being put on the B bomb site. They're hoping that Zonic rotated away, but he didn't budge. Still 3 members at the B bomb site for Astralis as this hit comes in.
Here we go, Device waiting just above the smoke. He has to be big here, as does Zipnix. The push will come out from Virtus Pro, but it's Snacks to connect with the first. Zipnix gets swapped aside on Device. Manages to stay alive throughout this. The retake still has quite a few numbers here for Astralis, but they are being worked down as we speak. Glaive now, a highlight player for Astralis, needs to do the damage, but he can't connect towards Taz too quickly. Comes back in for the fight, does find Taz, and now Device has to deal with 2. There's Glaive again! That's 3 back-to-back, looking for his 4th. He runs out of ammo, and Neo comes into it, but the bomb
has already been defused. What a round from Glaive. That's some incredible shots. I was just about to talk about how that bomb gets planted way too easy, but Glaive, he makes enough of a presence on the retake that it buys time for that defuse to come in.
Is it Device on the defuse, I guess?
No, I don't believe it was Device.
I don't think it was, because Device was the one waiting out for so long.
It's Zonic with the kit.
Yeah, so these two face, and just while this is happening, just off to their right side, you can just see it then. That was going on. Brilliant stuff from Zonic.
I mean, Pasha did a great job over at the A bomb site. He cut off a rotation, got one pick as he tried to evacuate that A bomb site, and he had a great flank coming in. It's just because Glaive gets those 3 kills so quickly, there's not enough pressure to slow down Astralis and make Pasha even more effective.
All right, so the first step to building back towards this game for Astralis. But again, they lost the second round in the first half, so they need to make sure this doesn't happen, that they don't get too much pressure. Karrigan just working with the scout towards long, a little bit of damage done early on, and at least it's towards Pasha, who's the one with armor.
The good news is with that lead that Virtus.pro had, they haven't invested into this round, so this should be pretty standard for Astralis. With that plant, they're more than likely just going to go ahead and buy in the third round because they'll be able to have the AK-47, so being a little bit conservative with the economy with such a big lead. But actually, they have Zipnix isolated on this site. This is a scary situation. There's Device. He gets back just in time. Him and Zipnix have slowed them down, and it looks like they've at least sustained the danger.
That was far too much danger to be had, and yeah, the cleanup comes in now, but that could have been a plant, that could have been worse, that could have been Zipnix overrun, that could have been around gone, but no. Astralis keep 5 alive. The UMPs actually do the damage, which is even better, so Zipnix and Device will get a little touch more money, of course, working with the SMGs there more than anything, but Virtus.pro coming on the buy. Not surprising, the plant came out in the first, they all went for the second round, so this is to be expected, but Astralis, what is your buy going to be here?
They have to realize this. They have to know that they weren't going against much armor. So there's 2 UMPs still, there's a scout on Karrigan, so a little bit weaker. But the good news is there's only 1 smoke on Virtus.pro's side, so Astralis, I mean, these UMPs can still do damage. They're not going to be blocked off.
I guess no guts, no glory here for Karrigan. A bit of a brave face with the scout. But he's going to get away. No one really taking that fight instantly. Pasha and Neo going for a different stall at the beginning. And again, quite a passive start from Virtus.pro. They're not giving anything up just yet, playing very default, seeing if there is that aggressive stack, if there's a bit of a push here. Just seeing what they're coming up against.
And because they're so passive, they have no information, so the question is, when do they start moving across the map? Snacks is going to bring the bomb back through T-spawn. He was very far away watching for any B push. Going to meet up with Neo and Pasha, who are just now starting over to clear long. Bialy's going to be left to watch for any mid-round pushes, any mid-round information plays from Astralis. He might be able to get a pick here if he finds the timing, because Device was actually pressuring that a little bit, but it looks like Virtus.pro is content to fall back under a minute left on the clock, and they're going to start working over towards the A bomb site.
I'm wondering how Astralis now faces for now. They've had minimal information as to what's coming their way. It's been a very slow build from Virtus.pro, not giving anything up. With a limited utility, of course, they have to kind of play it as they go.
This is dangerous. With no eyes pushed forward on the defense, Karrigan's alone with his scout. They're just now starting to rotate. He gets that kill. That's massive.
Good damage to follow towards Pasha as well, but it doesn't get the kill. It's still very possible here for Virtus.pro to do something. And look at Neo, sprays him wildly. He doesn't get the kill. Glaive stays alive, but it's Pasha pushing forward. Glaive goes down. He gets overwhelmed, but Neo now in the 1v1. Neo with a 6 spray towards Zipnix, but Device is having none of it. Astralis again just about stabilized, but that came down to Device picking up far more kills than expected.
Huge plays from Device when they needed him most. The UMPs, they keep the scout as well, and it pays off. Now they can get some free AK-40s, or they got 1 free AK-47. Device was left all alone, but Virtus.pro is going to be back onto a save. No plant that round either, and now the op is out for Karrigan.
This was one of the first maps we started looking at Device to have that real kind of fluidity to his AWPing that everyone started to enjoy, but Karrigan has been such a force of nature with this AWP himself on the CT side. Even on this map, it's been beautiful to watch, but it looks like Virtus.pro again, the plow starting to rev its engine. They're just going to go for possibly just this all-encompassing hit. Bearing in mind, Zipnix was left pretty alone here. It's going to be Device this time to deal with. A lot of players coming his way. No armor though, so the nades are going to do a great deal of damage as well. Look at him. Lovely, clean round. Good stuff from Astralis. No plant coming in for Virtus.pro again here, so their money's not going to be quite flush enough yet to get that full wanting buy, but they'll be back in a decent enough position.
Previous iterations of this Astralis team were always known for their dominant defenses, their dominant CT sides, always just being nowhere you could go as a terrorist team against them. They were just so strong at defending both bomb sites. Rotations were very good. We're starting to see that now. Device has woken up. He's up towards the top of the scoreboard. He's caught up, and he's overtaking Glaive even. He's at 17 and 13. Karrigan now with the AWP as well. So Virtus.pro, 4 members towards the B bomb site. Pasha is going to be the one out towards Fountain to see if there's any pressure.
So far, it looks very likely to be a B hit to start with if they actually go off the back. Not sure if they will. Again, maybe Virtus Pro don't want to fall into having to pick the tempo up just yet. There's plenty of time to go with a good couple of rounds difference so far.
Zonic and Glaive have complete control of the stairwell and the underpass, so if there is some kind of a B hit and they don't get cleared out, that's going to be a very quick flank. So you can see Virtus Pro now, they've put pressure, they've made noise over at the B bomb site, they're going to rotate back. So it's going to be all on Kerrigan, and then how does Glaive respond? He's got to be able to bail him out and set up a crossfire. Neo's going to take this peek. Kerrigan can't land the flick, and he's brought so low.
But where's Zonic in all of this as well? Zonic's going to be waiting in the wings, but Kerrigan gets shut out. He gets completely run over, and now the site's looking a little bit clear here. The retake's going to be big, though. Glaive and Zonic around the back lines. It's Glaive again doing the work. Snacks now torn as to where he puts his attention towards as he tries to spray, and he spots out a player, but Snacks there with Pasha has to do everything. Device going to be isolated. It's all down to Pasha and Neo here. Make it just one. 1v3, and Glaive's not going to be done in this round. Not outgunned, not outdone, and Astralis build back another round here. This is starting to look like a competitive game, Moses.
What a precarious round, though, from Astralis. I mean, Kerrigan goes down, and you think that A-bomb site is wide open. You can see Virtus Pro start pushing forward. And the timing on Glaive coming up the stairs, I mean, you almost felt like he was going to be too late. You almost felt like him and Zonic weren't going to have the impact necessary, but they do just enough.
Again, I thought maybe Taz could have done something from that spot. He was the one kind of left over by B, kind of by that short push. Unable to pressure any of those guys towards Allen pass connector area. So again, it did allow so much room to do the work from the back. And I guess what goes around comes around. Pasha had a moment very similar to that. So Kerrigan getting in. I'm not sure if he spotted. I think he spotted them out trying to make that slow peek towards B, but he's got to be careful. Even though they shouldn't be able to hit the one-shot headshot with those deagles, he still wants to back away. Doesn't want to give them too much, even at that angle. So information found. Astralis just need to weather the Polish storm that could be coming their way if they make that Tech-9 play.
They have a lot of utility. Oh, there's a dink from Zipnix right through the wall. That's nicely done. There's a lot of utility on the Virtus Pro side. They have 4 smokes. They've got 4 flashbangs. So they can have an execute here that could at least get them into the bomb site, at least get this plant down, and go from there. They have armor on some of these players as well. Although damage is being dealt very nicely by Astralis, softening up the Virtus Pro team before they execute.
Still those mollies in play. This is good. This is going to really hinder the attack. And look at it, Virtus Pro being shredded down so early. Pasha's low, Snacks is low, Taz is low. This could be tough to even get a bomb plant out of.
Well, the counter Molotovs when those smokes came in for Virtus Pro worked perfectly. Astralis now delayed the attack long enough that Virtus Pro says, we can't make it in here. We can't run through this fire and expect to get anything. We've got to come back towards the A-bomb site. We've got to hope they misrotated. Kerrigan's all alone for the moment. But at this range against just pistols, he's going to be fine.
What a masterclass again. He finally gets taken down by Taz, but he is starting to operate at a very high level. And these are the players we were scared of really showing up. We didn't get to see much from Device previously. Now we're seeing a huge bit of performance. Glaive individually, massive. And of course, this is worrying signs for Virtus Pro. They haven't really gotten going on this T side just yet. There's still rounds in this, so they still have the advantage. They still have the lead. But you want to get another round under your belt here.
It's been 6 straight for Astralis. On the CT side, Virtus Pro hasn't got a single round yet, and you're right, Kerrigan, the mobility around these boxes, using them perfectly, peeking from different angles. It's very nicely done to hold off that attack. That's a couple times, though, that if Virtus Pro notices, he's been very alone at that A-bomb site at times, and if they can exploit that, it's very dangerous. And Kerrigan now, it's his turn to get aggressive.
Yeah, he's going to have to face against Pasha. Not the man with the AWP either, it's Snacks who's currently got that, but at the moment, Snacks and Pasha going for it. The flash will allow Pasha to take a bit of an angle. Gonna back away, Kerrigan. Leave Zonic just a bit ahead, but both of them gonna back off now. Try and readjust, try and find a new spot here. Give up that aggression, but buys so much time.
And I like that. Zonic falling away, gonna boost Kerrigan up. Keep him away from the initial action. You don't want him making that first contact. Bialy, he does find Device, though, who is who you want at that first contact. So good win from Bialy.
Look at Zipnix as well. This aggression might give a little bit of the, not necessarily the game away, but a good idea what's coming, but Glaive going to be joining him too. This is a very strange beginning here. Bialy's going to find the fight. It's a little bit of a peek then, but there's Kerrigan finding Taz, and this is all over the place. There's attention left, right, and center. The smokes have gone down. 47 seconds remain. And Virtus Pro yet seem no closer to making that final hit.
Bialy's still waiting very far back in B. Zipnix has pushed up, and he says, I don't see anyone here. And he could actually get caught off guard. This is going to be a very dangerous push. Bialy holding the angle. How far does Zipnix want to go? Because Virtus Pro, Snacks and Neo are rotating down the stairwell back towards the B bomb site. Pasha's putting on a little bit of a fake. 3 members at this A bomb site. It's all on Zipnix. He's got to make the play.
Timing is everything here, and Zipnix, oh, he hits the shot, Bialy goes down, the alarm bells ring, but Neo hits a stunner, Carrigan gets swept aside, and now Zipnix in a great spot, sprays in towards Snacks, and Virtus Pro are falling like flies. The plant is a desperate attempt there, but Zipnix denies any chance, and now with 5 seconds left, Astralis still in this, and what a gutsy play from Zipnix then.
All on Zipnix that round, and he steps up massively. So many different angles, so many different timings that would have lost him a number of battles. He wins all of them. And Astralis still sticking in this 10-12, making this comeback. And we have a timeout now for the Virtus Pro side.
Yep, and I do not blame him. You've got to start questioning things at this point because, okay, on the T side you can kind of argue what hindered Astralis in the fact that they can't trade as effectively as they would. They're not quite as, they don't have that synergy of their normal lineup coming together, but on the CT side, they've been working out these spots. They're playing kind of a normal role in a way, but just a little bit more aggressive. They're arguably looking for more of these fights than they normally do.
This is incredible as well. Zonic with only 4 kills. You can't expect too much of him stepping in this kind of a situation, but to have 4 players who essentially have to carry this team against one of the world's best in Virtus Pro, this is very impressive stuff on the defensive side for guys like Glaive has had a great game. Device, even, I mean, Zipnix that last round is incredible.
And I've never seen a player come into a lineup who's never played on a stage of this caliber and do so well. It's Glaive, to me, who's been actually a very unsung hero from this entire tournament, because most of the time when you see a player come into a prolific lineup, you look at maybe Fnatic, for example, who had Wenzen come in for a bit, who did fine, but you wouldn't say he excelled. You'd say he kind of kept his own. They went through the motions and it was all right. But for me, Glaive has really shown that he can definitely compete at this incredibly high tier, even in the biggest circumstances, and still, at one of the most important games, is being consistent. And it's not just the fact of getting filler kills. Half of these kills are incredibly important to the round as well.
Now it comes from Virtus Pro, because we almost see a very, very similar trend from Astralis' terrorist half, where Virtus Pro is the one being very passive at the moment. They haven't really put too much pressure. They haven't been that aggressive, assertive style that we've seen out of them, that explosive, fast-paced. They've gotten some picks here and there, but they haven't been able to capitalize. The rotations for Astralis have been very, very good at getting over just in time, getting over to the new bomb site, filling the holes, the gaps in the defense when they need to, which is something that Virtus Pro usually excels at. Because of that fast-paced style, they're usually so good at getting in, at exploiting those gaps in the defense before they can be filled by the defense.
It's surprising to see Virtus Pro not go to that sooner, if I'm completely honest. Normally, as you said, this is a massive feature, a massive card in the Virtus Pro book. But we're not seeing it just yet. It's curious. It's in the back of my mind as to why they haven't gone to it. Maybe just not feeling confident. Maybe just not felt that they've had to go to that sort of level yet. We're going to find out what they come out with. We are back into the game. Pauses come out for both sides throughout this matchup. You can see how much these maps mean to these teams, how much a step in the right direction can provide. And already Carrigan and Glaive going to be pushing up aggressively to greet Virtus Pro with a smile.
And again, Glaive, this time he's alone. He had Zonic with him last time, but he's controlling this stairwell, and there's no one for Virtus Pro. There's no presence there to clear that out. Snacks is going to try and come from Fountain. Now here's the battle for Glaive, and he wins it. That's big. All 4 members of Virtus Pro over towards the B bomb site. They have no control elsewhere. They've got to move forward. They've got to hit this, and they know it, because they have no other options.
Here you go, Device backs away. A little flash comes out. It's Pasha to move forward. Zonic goes down. Not too surprising considering the scoreline, but still, the bomb now down. 4 players alive. This is a tough retake, and it's getting tougher by the second. Zipnix trades at least with Neo. And now Bialy creeping his way around, sprays in. That's Glaive gone. It's down to Zipnix and Carrigan. Is this recovery now for Virtus Pro on their T side? Again, the clock ticking. Time is running out here for Astralis.
There's Pasha in water. Critical spot to hold. Zipnix down on a 1-on-2. Can he land that shot? He can't. Nicely done from Taz. 13-10 now, so both teams out of the timeout win the ensuing round. They make the necessary adjustments. But Virtus Pro has to win this one as well, because the money for Astralis has been fantastic. That is 7 straight rounds for Astralis. That's the first win that Virtus Pro has had on this T-half.
That must have felt like a long time in the making for Virtus Pro. It certainly did for us in the crowd, but now it's a matter of consistency, isn't it? Can they keep doing it? Is it just a one and done? Is that, okay, we caught up Astralis once, now they're going to mentally go, all right, we better be ready for that in case it happens again. We're going to wait and see what comes out of this one. Astralis still looking so early for these challenges, but look how slowly Virtus Pro are playing into this. Taz, Pasha, Neo, all sitting back quite late. They're just trying to deny these early picks. There's no opening chances here for Astralis just yet.
Carrigan's Kerrigan's going to be the one. He's pushed up next to Bathrooms. They're going to be coming right at him. Neo, Pasha, all 5 members of Virtus Pro are here, actually. Kerrigan holding a bit of an off angle. And it looks like Taz is going to flash him out. Is this going to work? He spots Neo, but he can't land the flick. Now he's completely blind. Glaive's there to slow him down. There's Kerrigan. And they don't press his situation just yet. Now he swings out aggressively, lands it onto Pasha.
He can't keep it up though. Taz is there to punish, so does good damage, but it's not enough. Taz gets called out looking the wrong way. It's Zonic playing the truck itself, and now 3v2. It's gonna be tough to break back in, and they walk right into the blender. Snax has no step towards the site in 50 seconds. Players present everywhere, but he does at least have the bomb.
1-on-3 situation, and he's just hiding. He's trying to hope that Astralis is going to make a mistake. Someone get aggressive, someone peeks, try and find out where he is. But instead, I mean, it's Zonic who's making the smart play. Instead of trying to use his aim, he's using his brain and just plays it very passively. No Snax has to commit. Now he's been spotted out. Jumping shot, Snax reveals his position. Molotov to force Zonic into the open. That's going to work perfectly, but he can't land the shot. Now he knows he's going up against 2. He eventually does find Zonic.
He's got a good shot at this now. He's got an individual 1v1. Device is en route, but he's still far away. He can isolate Xipnix. This could be good, but he's still now getting the pressure from Device. 10 seconds remain. It has to be now or never, and it will be never. Device lands the nade. Snax goes down, and Astralis deny the build back here for Virtus Pro.
That's so nicely done by Zonic. Staying alive, just in the bomb site. Just making sure that he doesn't leave his teammate in another one-on-one for Snax to win. Buying enough time for Device on that rotation. Well played in a dangerous spot. It's Kerrigan though, and you can see this pressure mounted by Glaive and Kerrigan. I mean, it's not the most effective. It's a 2-for-2 trade. But look how much time it buys them. Since they're fighting so like advanced of the bomb site, Virtus Pro, even though they get those 2 kills, by the time they want to aggress upon the A site, I mean, the defense has already covered that. Device is already over there. Zonic's there. So nicely done from Astralis in that.
And look what it's done to Virtus Pro. They have no one with armor. They have a Deagle and a Tech 9 and 1 smoke, 1 flash. This is purely plant related. This is all they're going to be looking at to try and achieve, and it's not looking great for them here, but again, this is time to talk. Look, Neo's in spawn. This is discussion time, and we already discussed well, maybe the aggression's going to work, but it seems as though Astralis still have cards up their sleeve for this. This is a very tough call now for Virtus Pro.
Yeah, they're going to have to grind this one out, because Astralis, this defense has been so solid. And you're exactly right. This is essentially a timeout when they don't have a timeout to take. Just stay far back on the map, knowing the defense isn't going to push up, isn't going to get aggressive. Give yourself some extra time to talk to your team, talk about what's happening, what you want to do next. Very rarely see this, but it is good to see it brought out because it is very effective.
Well, after, you know, Xipnix went walking through there before, I can imagine Snax is just like, please do it again. I doubt you'll walk through here, but not going to be the case. And yeah, it looks like a B hit's going to be coming in. Bialy's the one to set this play up more than anything. He's the one with the smoke. So that goes down. You see that dropping in. Just going to try and isolate Xipnix, but it forces him into fight more than anything, and this is going to be a nice clean round again. Astralis getting back into this. The scoreline is looking worse and worse for Virtus Pro. They start off with a blistering first half, and now it's 13-12.
That's 22 kills for Device, 20 for Xipnix, 21 for Glaive. Those 3 guys leading the way, and Kerrigan with some massive impact kills of the AWP. Not the high volume, but the important ones that he's gotten. So what does Virtus Pro decide to do now? They don't have an AWP on the board. Taz is going to only be on the Tech 9. A couple Galils as well, but they have very, very good utility. They can do any kind of execute they want. No one towards the B bomb site this time. No one even towards Underpass. All 5 members heading up towards Playground, heading towards Fountain. It looks like they want to take over long. They want to force back any presence there from Astralis.
Kerrigan not really going to be tested too much here. It looks like, as you said, everyone's going towards long, so it's pretty much Glaive who's going to be waiting to see what comes his way. And timing is everything in these instances. If he doesn't feel like there's pressure on long, he won't look at long, and it could give him up the angle. And he's going to be hearing some of these steps. They have heard it. They're going to be falling back to side. They know what's coming now. They're going to try and adjust as best they can to this. This is a huge stack from Astralis towards that A site as well. They had 4 players waiting for this, and the double smoke could make this interesting. And Device, what a position.
These smokes out towards long for Virtus Pro, just designed to get Pasha this close without being seen. Here come the pop flashes in the execute.
Device is still not spotted. He's waiting so patiently. He finds one, but the push is now going to come through from Virtus Pro. Can they find the kills? It's a slow play coming out in the end, but Neo and Snax claim them. It's Xipnix and Glaive now on the A site, who has to find everything. Xipnix is doing the work though. Here comes the play, the bomb lost, and a bit of a tricky spot though, allowing the CT side to keep Virtus Pro in check. All recovered for Snax. Bialy with the rifle. Bialy strikes first, and now they have to fight their way out of this one if they want a shot towards the bomb site.
Yeah, they are trapped right now. Zonic holding the angle, misses the shot, but Snax can't get out just yet. There's the op. He misses the shot as well. They're down so low. They have worked their way out of bank at least, and Snax is now on the bomb site, but it's Bialy with the bomb who's got to cross in.
Glaive's already gone out though. Glaive's taken a step forward in the right direction, and they might not predict this. We'll see if Snax looks for it. He is, and there's so many smokes, there's so much confusion. Look at this right now. The bomb is in the hands of Bialy. They have 15 seconds. Sonic's found him. It's down to Snax in the 1v2 here. This could be Astralis going 13-13. They might just be lucky for Astralis at this point. Here we go. Snax goes down. There's Glaive with the kill, and Astralis are back in this game. And what looked like a disastrous start has turned into something incredible. Astralis will not go down without a fight.
What a hectic round. That tactic from Virtus.pro almost works out. All 5 members coming long. Astralis has to just respect the fact that there's some coming from bathrooms. Very rarely do you see all 5 members coming from that way, but the entries go in Virtus.pro's favor. They just get trapped in bank, and that 2-on-2, so difficult to escape in that situation. And Astralis has made this comeback happen, all tied up now, and back onto pistols for just another round. I mean, there's utility here for Virtus.pro, but not a lot. And one thing they've never been able to do in this half, one reason why this defense has been so strong, Glaive, whenever he's in the stairwell, whenever he's in underpass, he's got complete control. He's got no pressure on him.
No one's been challenging this. It's been such a rarity, anyone's gone near it. As you said, he gets freedom, he gets information, he can just quick rotate behind the sights, play that flank. Everything becomes possible for him.
It may not seem like that big of a deal, but that's such a critical portion of this map to hold because it allows the offense to move freely between each bomb site. It allows them to rotate from A to B very, very swiftly if they want to change up the angle of their attack. And because they can't do that, they're forced into these explosive tactics, these executes. And Astralis has been more than capable in this half of holding those off.
1 minute left. As seen before, the most they have really invested here is those marginally upgraded pistols, a couple of smokes, so ideally plant would be perfect. Anything more is a huge bonus, but with Glaive in this spot already, it becomes quite, well, almost impossible. Taz at the bottom, he'll see him cross if he does try and do so. He could take a fight from it if he wants, but Neo will be the lamb to the proverbial slaughter at the moment, but it's actually Bialy to walk out first. So Pasha trying his best to sell over by A, but at the moment, Glaive and Kerrigan still towards this B side. Here comes Neo and Taz. This is the play we've been waiting for. Pasha is merely a clever ruse in this one, and it's down to Glaive again over on that B side. He gets outdone. Pasha wins his fight. This is back on. We're in a 3v3, and Pasha has the gun, as does Neo, but the bomb's not down just yet.
Oh, Astralis, say it isn't so. Try and hold on to this. You can't lose this round to just pistols. The bomb is being planted. Pasha's still on a very slow flank. Zonic's gonna find him. Important kill there, but nice shot from Taz with the deagle. All on Neo. Has the M4 over towards sandbags. He has to stop this defuse.
There's no smoke. There's only one flash, but it doesn't matter. Device comes in. And again, it may not be pretty, but it gets the job done. Astralis finally take the lead here in their first game in the quarterfinals. This is the first map of possibly 3. And if it keeps up to this sort of caliber, we are in for a cracker of a game, but that was way too close.
I mean, some very nice shots from Taz. Those 2 kills between him and Pasha, Pasha on the flank initially finding Zipniks, those are very timely. Because it also confuses Astralis not knowing where the attack is coming from, not knowing where the main portion of that attack is. So a lot of damage dealt into that round of the economy of Astralis. 14-13, they've finally taken the lead. They haven't had it since the pistol round that they won in the first half.
What a great way to phrase it. Double AWP though coming through for Virtus.pro. Not seen that one just yet. It's generally been Snax if anyone on it. Pasha this time will be joining through, so you can maybe expect a little bit of a slower approach, trying to get those AWPs to be able to get those picks, play into the round a touch. They have 1 minute and 30, plenty of time to play with it. Astralis not really going for much aggression here. Playing towards the sides a little more, even Kerrigan might have a little go by the toilets, but again, has to be quite cautious on this one.
Very spread out from Virtus.pro. Neo is all on his own. Snax, finally we're seeing a presence in underpass in the stairs. And actually Taz catches out Zipniks. Not sure what he was thinking. Caught completely unawares at a critical juncture in this game. And that's a huge advantage now. Virtus.pro with a 5-on-4 for over a minute.
That is rather condemning. It's going to be incredibly hard for Astralis to now read themselves into this game correctly. If Virtus.pro just make a play here just with the numbers, they get the overmatch, it becomes quite difficult to hold on to. But again, the bomb was with Pasha. It was with Pasha in Neo's hands over by long, but Pasha's found Carrigan. That's weakened the A side, but look at the rest of where Virtus.pro are looking towards. This is not going to be an A hit. It's all coming towards B, and one by one they're going down. This is unbearable to watch almost. Zonic now left with it all to do. He's got players left, right, and center. He catches out Taz a touch, but doesn't get the kill. Flash to follow. Bomb now coming in. He's got support in the form of Glaive, and these two have to go above and beyond, and Bialy is not going to stand for it. It's down to Glaive in the 1v5. The spray comes out. He gets one. He will get no more. Virtus.pro just find these kills one after the other, build into these rounds, and Astralis, you've opened a window of opportunity here now.
You gotta say, Zipnik's a player who's known for being so fundamentally strong, so smart and intelligent in his gameplay. Not even looking, not even thinking that catwalk is a possibility. I'm not sure if Pasha had to have spotted him to take that shot, but through the smoke. I mean, you could just see, this is all Astralis just getting picked apart one by one. Virtus.pro applied no real pressure. Just mistakes from the Astralis players. So 14-14 and the money is gone for Astralis. If they lose this, Virtus.pro has a great shot at taking this last round. Taz still just walking in, being aggressive. No indication he's coming.
Zonic could have done some work. They're going to push up a little bit closer to this, but he doesn't get anything really achieved from it. He just takes the damage, if anything. That Mag 7 really quite limited as to what you can achieve, but he's trying to make it work. However, looking at Virtus.pro, as you said, just a real quick dash of aggression, quick to see if they can maybe catch someone out again. They did it before, so why not try it?
Right, and before these past two rounds, we've mostly seen slow-paced executions out of Virtus.pro, so Taz trying to pick it up, trying to catch him off guard. It worked last round. This time it almost got him something. But he's got to be cautious, because if he tries that now, Zonic is close up by Sandbags with the shotgun, with the Mag 7. Perhaps doesn't go so well at that range for Taz.
55 seconds. The bomb is looking like it's going towards B. Zonic! You said it wasn't going to go well for Taz, and it certainly didn't, but there is still players here that can try and exploit this. Zonic is going to find it hard to find a position to really readjust. The flash actually doesn't work out so well, but there's a trade out. Device will find Bialy, but here comes the push. Neo and Snacks needs to be cautious. There's a lot of rotates coming through. Pasha's there, but he's still pretty far away, and Device is getting hungry, and he's going to have a snack there. That Snack's down. 4v2. Bomb going to be desperately trying to be planted by Neo. No one can really stop that right now. They're trying, but it's down to these two classics of the Virtus.pro lineup. And they almost lined up for Neo, and it's all in Pasha's hands now. 1v3, he finds one of these. He needs more, and he's not going to get it. Bialy already fell. It's Zipnik's to come through. And again, Astralis. What are these guys coming up with? This is unbelievable depths of motivation they're pulling from here.
That first kill by Zonic is huge. He's only got 9 in the match, but that's massive to give him the advantage. And even when he's forced back, even when that shotgun is behind the pillar and it's at the range where it's not going to be effective, his kill is traded perfectly by his teammate. I believe it was Device. And that's when as Astralis gets really strong on the defense. And that B bomb site, Device and Zipniks are so good at playing that passively, playing in water, playing far back, not getting over aggressive, waiting for their teammates to come before they pounce. 15-14, Astralis with a chance to steal this. A massive comeback after the first half. It was 12-3 for Virtus.pro, now 15-14.
This is everything you could hope for the first game on a stage as such as this. Carrigan could have a perfect chance here. Gets flashed out, won't overstay his welcome. Going to back away from this. Bearing in mind Device and Glaive are still so close to be able to do some damage.
He's going to wait for Device to make first contact, and Device, the timing's not with him, and he gets dropped.
The execution from Pasha comes in. This could be overtime if someone doesn't stop it. Carrigan also in a bit of a pinch here. He's got Glaive to support him, though. But what's he going to do? Is he going to go for the aggression? Oh, my word, this is unbelievable. He misses. Pasha comes forward, and Pasha fighting his way through this Astralis side. Smoke goes down, and now Zipnik's, Glaive, and Zonic in a world of trouble. Neo has the bomb, and they are not committing just yet.
Bialy's making his move. Bialy playing outside B this entire half. Now he knows with those 2 kills, it's more than likely clear. The rotation for Astralis is all towards that.
Oh, Pasha!
Pasha pushes right through. 2 kills for him.
4 kills so far from Pasha in what is a huge round for Virtus.pro. This could be overtime, and unless Zipnik does something heroic. You've seen Pasha do it. Can he find it himself? The first kill on the board.
4 kills from Pasha in this round, in this critical round. What a game from him.
The bomb now planted. Bialy first to look for the fight, and there it is, ladies and gents. 15-15. Virtus.pro tied up when it matters. And what a game we have on our hands.
That setup at the end looked like it was going to be perfect for Astralis. Device in bathrooms, Kerrigan waiting for him to make contact before re-peeking, but the timing just doesn't work out. Device has to check the other angle, and Pasha has 31 kills in regulation.
What a phenomenal performance from a man that's not been at the forefront of the scene for quite some time. People like Snacks, BRL, Neo, everyone else had that moment of brilliance prior to him, but he has found form in one of the most important games you're going to see. And you can't take it away from Astralis. That CT side seemed robust almost as ever.
I mean, it's incredible what they're able to do, considering Zonic over these 2 halves has 9 kills. I mean, this is a guy, he's the coach. You could see at times as well on the camera, he's still coaching this team while he's in the game. He's still leaning over between rounds and making calls and making suggestions for the setup. But still, I mean, Device steps up in a big way that second half. Zipnix and Glaive as well.
Yep. I don't know what to say about this. This is one of those games that is going to be so defining. So many incredibly one-sided halves in a way that would define off individuals more than overall performance. It's crazy to watch, so who knows what we're going to get coming back into this overtime. But guys, do stay tuned. We're going to go to a very short break. When we're back, we'll find out who picks up that first map. So it is overtime on the cards. 15-15 after what was a blistering start for Virtus.pro. You thought it was all but over, but no. Astralis are not done yet, pulling on our heartstrings throughout this entire game, and we are into it right about now.
Virtus.pro not done yet either. They could have collapsed at any number of times during this match. Incredibly done from both teams. And Virtus.pro still sticking with that style they switched to at the end. They got him a couple rounds there. Snacks going in underpass, making sure Glaive doesn't have freedom to just control that portion. Taz over towards short. We've seen him just walk up and take battle with no indication he's coming. He's willing to take that fight.
So now Astralis had time to talk through what was going wrong towards the end of their CT side. It came a little bit closer than maybe predicted, but those heavy rotates coming in that were exploited drastically by Virtus.pro towards the end might not be another factor. We'll see. As again, Virtus.pro have still a minute to play with here. They have the double orbs coming out instantly in this. So Pasha and Snacks, and Pasha being the huge impact player so far, but a very slow build from Virtus.pro this time.
Prodding a little bit. They've used a lot of the utility on the Astralis side as well. At 50 seconds left, there's a smoke on Glaive, Molotov on a device. So not a whole lot of utility to slow things down when this hit does come in. And Pasha, as he's been most of the terror side for Virtus.pro, out towards long, all on his own. We've seen him lurk it, we've seen him be the entry fragger, we've seen him be aggressive all on his own. And this is where the hit's gonna come in. 30 seconds left. Now Virtus.pro has the option to fall back. Snacks, what a shot.
What a play between Taz and Snacks. They were just baiting each other out, trying to get Kerrigan to take that fight, and then you saw the close coming out, but Neo's been able to sneak his way forward. Pasha's there as well. Glaive's in its device. You better be ready for what's about to come into this site. 15 seconds left. This is an incredibly slow round. The bombs with Bialy. Keep your mind towards that. Bialy's found Glaive. It's down to Zipnix to hold the line. He gets Neo, and it's Device in the back line, but Bialy is not done. Taz there as well, leaving Zonic smoked out, locked out, and outnumbered as well.
All he can do is really save this weapon. This is where that economy in overtime starts to play. You start out with $10,000, 3 rounds for each half of overtime, and they lose the first one on the CT side. That's very punishing. It's going to be a very strained buy moving forward for Astralis. Actually saving this gun for Zonic. I'm almost surprised Virtus.pro's not hunting it down a little bit more aggressively, because saving this gun is massive if he's able to drop that over.
I'm not sure where they think he might be. I'm not sure if they expected him to be rotated over from the other side, but he's going to get away scot-free from this. No one's close by. He will be able to retain it, as said. This could be quite important going into those last couple of, well, last few rounds. So again, Virtus.pro with a big start here. Very, very impactful play coming out. Lovely work from Bialy, considering he was the one carrying the bomb in. He was the one who had to make sure he made it there in time, so it was a very late hit, but still hit those shots. And it looked like Astralis, as you said, utilized all that utility so early on that they had nothing to deny that hit with by the end of it. And there we have it. The money's very robust for Virtus.pro now. The double op not even really flinching at this point.
And a double op setup here for Virtus.pro in these overtimes. So very interesting, the switch that they've made. That's why we're seeing them be a little bit more slow paced, allowing time for the ops to do their work. Snax is going to take his into Overpass again. He might be challenged by Kerrigan. Pasha's got his towards playground. Aggression towards short, though. Taz and Zipnix trade kills.
Back and forth we go. Want to be cautious on this, considering, as you said, the trades have come out, which generally makes it quite tough work for Astralis, or at least any CT side, but the boost possibly towards short as well. Zipnix and Zonic, they're both going over, no one actually boosting up. They're going to back away, leave Zipnix pushed up. Zonic now watching towards Monster, but a minute and 18, considering that last hit came out in 15 seconds, there's no rush here, and already Bialy, what a beginning now. That's 2 kills found. Virtus.pro with such a favorable position.
Yeah, Zipnix is very exposed there, and he's got to keep track of someone coming out door and coming down very low. A lot of space that he's got to drag his crosshair if he gets caught off guard. So nice find from Bialy. Pasha still pressure out towards long. He's been doing this for so long. You can see it's forcing Glaive now with that smoke there. Kerrigan lets him know it's coming, and Glaive has been much more passive, but it's going to be a 3-on-2 over at this B bomb site when Virtus.pro eventually makes the hit.
Yeah, Zonic and Glaive the ones who have to wait, but it's Snax, Neo, and Bialy looking for the hit right about now. Zonic just got wrecked by Neo. That's the entry they needed. Glaive is the last man in their way. And the plow overtake. And here we go, flank coming out as well from Kerrigan. He is en route. The nade comes in, but it doesn't stop the plant. Neo's still there, planting it down in a bit of an unorthodox spot, but there's a shot in the last couple of bullets. And now 2v2 is back all even. Pasha on the long flank as well. This is incredible stuff from Snax. That's the shot you needed. They now know where Glaive is. And he's going to fight tooth and nail for a shot into this one. And there's Pasha to say no. Virtus.pro get themselves building perfectly on this first half in overtime.
So patient all around from Pasha. Flank finally comes into play. That plant in the smoke is for Pasha on the flank. It's perfect positioning for him. So very well executed tactic by VP. And Snax still just being magical with this AWP. Great performance from him as well. But still, Pasha leading the way with 32 kills. This is incredible from him.
And it's even just his presence on long has been such a big fact in this. It's been causing so much problems, but okay, a bit of a Hail Mary comes out, and that's about as well as it's going to go. Snax actually was watching at that time, not allowing that kind of space down there in that underpass that has been causing so many issues previously, and now Glaive has to pick up the mantle. Flash to follow, completely blinded, going to assume that no one's going to walk through the molly. It's fine. But still, so much to be gathered so early on for Virtus.pro here.
This is that economic punish now, losing 2 rounds in overtime on the CT side. UMP, shotgun, and 2.57s. This is not a great arsenal Astralis is bringing to the table in this last round of OT. It's going to have to be some clever positioning, some good plays. Devices in bathroom. He can hear Pasha running up at the moment. Wisely, that Molotov is going to force him passive. He's at least got Glaive in the stairwell to cover his back for now.
Glaive did manage to recover the AWP off Kerrigan's corpse, so again, there is support play in place, but it's still not ideal to be AWPing from that stairwell up to the party. It's Device who has to do the work, and he can't manage it. Taz outdoes him, and that unleashes Pasha towards the rest of the Astralis side, and he is not stopping. Oof. You get away with your life there, Zipnix, just about bearing in mind. Zonic's going to push forward Glaive as well, so a little bit of a split approach here. 37 seconds. Pasha, point blank range, takes out Zonic, and Neo now has to claim Glaive's life. And he's gonna, has he not spotted the gun barrel? He's not seen it, and Glaive gets away with murder. Somehow finds Neo, keeping some sort of shot alive into this. 23 seconds, Moses, it's not a lot.
Yeah, but Bialy's keeping Xyp9x occupied, so they know it's a 3-on-1 at this A bomb site. The bomb's gonna go down. And Glaive actually, it seems like he thinks it's over towards B. Bialy has sold this fake, and they've left the entire correct bomb site. Bialy, he has won this round for Virtus Pro. It's heartbreaking to see.
And look at the HP as well. This could have been so possible, but it's not now. Virtus Pro have a phenomenal first half here in overtime. Clean as you like, and that was just beautifully done. You could account that to anyone from that side. Everyone having big moments, but Pasha to me still being so influential.
Pasha and Bialy did a great job on the T side in overtime on the extremities of the map. Both of them pressuring Bialy towards B, Pasha towards long A. Both have a massive impact. And the other three just worrying about the rest of it, the underpass, you know, out towards bathroom, not getting picked off early. And Virtus Pro, I mean, a rough regulation on the Terra side, but something clicked there towards the end because they got those 2 rounds right at the end of regulation. Now all 3 in overtime. That puts a lot of pressure on Astralis.
See what they can come up with. You've got to say that they are fighting so hard for this. You should never be able to get this far with 2 stand-ins. Let's be very honest about it. Sure, Glaive has been absolutely sick, but then Zonic as well, he's not having a great game either. He had some rounds in that, you know, he wasn't completely redundant, but he's certainly not the same sort of presence. So for Virtus Pro, this is a game they should be winning.
Certainly have an advantage here, switching over to the easier side that they had to deal with in regulation. 12-3 half it was for them, and they only need 1 round here. This is a thing, Astralis, they've got to make sure that coming out of this, it's been a long time since they saw that defense, since they played on this side of the map. They need to be that aggressive style. They got them those 3 rounds. They won the pistol and 2 rounds where they were aggressive. Those are the ones they won in regulation. They need to get back to that. They need to make sure they don't just start out passive in this round.
It's a hard mentality to keep up after you've just taken a bit of a beating from Virtus Pro. You've just been slapped around. You have to come back just as, you know, willing to take it again. So for Astralis, mentally a big moment for them. You can see Carrigan there just a little smile. He looks happy enough. He's, you know, this for them is still an incredibly impressive moment to get this far with this sort of roster. So take it as it comes for them at this point.
The danger is going to be if Astralis is going to, you know, call some kind of play towards Fountain, because that's where they really got smacked around by Snacks with that ADVP, getting aggressive over smoke, all of Virtus Pro being aggressive behind it. They were shut down there numerous times, so you almost have to feel like Astralis comes into this overtime thinking that half of the map is off limits to them.
Hopefully mentally they don't have that. As you said, it's going to be interesting to see how they approach it. Do you take the straight up fight, or do you kind of respect that? Do you play around it? Do you find another way through? Again, Astralis's T-side was pretty lacking for quite some time. They picked up the pistol and a couple of rounds here and there. It wasn't a pretty picture if you're a fan of Astralis. They didn't get much going. The slow plays didn't really equate to much. They were getting picked apart quite consistently. A couple of rounds started to come through once they quickened the pace after the timeout. So they had opportunities there. There was possibility towards the end of it, but it's getting back to that mindset after playing so long without having to think about it. So having to refresh themselves memory-wise, getting back to that same sort of mentality. And this is still a best of 3. There are still other maps just on the horizon. It's, you know, Train still coming up next, then Cash if required. But as you can hear, it's time to find out how this one closes down.
Well, that's why this map is so important to Astralis. Train up next, Virtus Pro, an incredible team on that map. It's going to be a very difficult one for Astralis, but for now they have to win 3 in a row to force double overtime. They can't drop a single round, or else Virtus Pro takes the first map in the series.
Here we go, ladies and gents, 18-15. One more round for Virtus Pro would put them in the perfect position going forward. Eyes set towards those semi-finals, and here is that rather patented aggression that came out before. Again, the nades come through, but no real deep connections. Glaive able to work his way around it, but Snacks and Pasha with these AWPs pushed up so far.
Looked like they wanted to get aggressive. I mean, a lot of flashbangs, a lot of utility used by Virtus Pro in the first 15 seconds. Taz has already had a nade, so is Bialy. No flashbangs on Snacks, so I think it was only 2 flashes used by Astralis towards Fountain to force them back, so that's very efficient in terms of the utility you use to keep that pressure away.
Astralis looking towards long here. You've got Neo sitting right at the back of bank. You can't actually see him there. He's all the way tucked back in, so playing almost out of the side. You've got Pasha push forward as well, so he's the kind of first port of call if you're Astralis to get past. He's the first boss on the way. Carrigan Good shot there, takes him down. That's a step in the right direction for Astralis, but there's still Neo. There's still a couple of others close enough on the rotate, but Taz and Bialy are very dug into B. This is going to be pretty much Neo holding onto this until Snax can come back, if they make a fast play.
Snax just now rotating, so a lot of faith in Neo to be able to hold this. Just one player, but Astralis calls the audible. They go back towards the B bomb site. Just Taz and Bialy here. Can they clear him out?
Oh, Bialy, you've got it all to do. Zipnik steps forward, he takes the challenge and he wins it. Taz now, lurking away by water, takes the fight towards Zipnik, and Zipnik again comes up and does everything that Astralis needs. Zonic finally gets a kill on the board as well. That's towards Snax, and Neo, he was the one who's left with so much pressure towards A, ends up being completely unscathed.
Speaking of unscathed, Astralis haven't lost a single player. Great entries from Zipnik, finding Bialy, getting one more, taking over that side. Now he's on the hunt, Neo is gonna find him. Now that his position is known, this is what I was questioning from Virtus Pro, is chase down this last player. Is Astralis going to be successful with it? Because Neo is going to be stuck in bank, and you can just see on the minimap all the terrorist dots
all the
converging.
Orbs. 3 orbs there? Is that what you want right now?
They're going to drop one of those.
I hope they are. All right, there we go. Bomb goes off. Astralis get themselves into the game, and Glaive actually found Neo at the end as well. So no gun pulled over, and they actually keep 3 orbs.
I don't like this.
Please
this is very questionable. Especially because there's no, I mean, unless Glaive is secretly some really good, yeah, they dropped it now. So it's just going to be Kerrigan and Device. So a little bit of a mistake because Zonic actually has to rebuy an AK when he didn't necessarily have to, but it's not a huge punish on this T side. Especially after winning that round, their economy is still going to be fine. But now Virtus Pro's the one in danger. Another op on Snax. Their money is depleted.
Snax has to be careful. Timing comes down to everything in this. If he takes the aggressive stance, he could end up in a straight 1-to-1 fight with Glaive. He does have Passion now to back away with him. So again, this kind of aggressive beginning and then falling back off it.
Last round, the only thing that enabled Kerrigan to get that opening pick on a Pasha is the use of flashbangs to force him back. First, Snax tried to get aggressive with the AWP, flashbang forced him away. Pasha was trying to be aggressive around the side of bathrooms, flashbang forced him back into the site where Kerrigan already had the angle for that repeat. So really nice use of nades in this overtime from Astralis so far.
Snax is still hanging around here. He needs to back off soon. You can see the T side starting to really encroach towards the A side, or at least build up some presence. Pasha will be waiting in that rather ominous corner that can either pretty much do one and done or get you all 5, it seems. There's no middle ground to that, but Snax is there. There's a lot of presence and a lot of read in towards this A hit coming out. Bialy and Taz are still by B, but Device not finding any through hit just yet on long, and gotta be careful. Oh my word. Don't do it, Snax. Thanks.
How courageous do you have to be to just stand behind a smoke and just hope that a bullet doesn't hit you? Astralis still gearing up for an A hit, but they can fall back easily. Glaive and Zonic are going to stick around. Device, Kerrigan, and Zipnik are outside B.
Rotated. This is massive. He's already gone over towards A. It's all Bialy. This has got to be the Bialy show, because here comes Astralis. Bialy is watching the cross. Glaive even doing the Pasha right back to him. There's Device towards Bialy. The site is open, and the bomb goes down. But these 3 players desperately trying to make a retake for Virtus Pro are not finding any luck here. No step towards the site, and it looks like it's time to back away already. Astralis had a mountain to climb here, and they're halfway up.
Virtus Pro has to save these weapons. They have no more money. They need to make sure that they can bring these into the next round. It's their only hope of winning it. Otherwise, they're going to be stuck on the pistols, the shotguns. But Astralis, this overtime, they've figured it out. Finally, they've been successful at forcing back early pressure towards Fountain, towards Party, towards Bathroom. Nice shot from Snax there to stay alive. But ever since they've been able to create that space for themselves, they've been able to do whatever they want. Device finds Neo. And now Snax, he's got to save this towards long.
You know he's being pressured. You can see those shots coming in. He gets tagged. He just about stays alive. Great shot there just to keep the orb. That is so important. Look at the money that's going to be left with them. They have so little. Just being able to keep that over might give them a shot at this. Otherwise, we're in double OT.
This op has got to be very effective for Snax in this round. For Virtus Pro to steal this away from a second overtime, Snax has got to be the one to get aggressive, have an impact, give them some kind of an advantage.
Astralis just don't know when they're done, and I love that. The sheer grit and determination to get this far, to bring it back again in such an insane position. It's beautiful CS to watch. Virtus Pro, on the other hand, desperate to keep control of this now. And it looks like a switch up of play as well. Looking at this Neo going forward. Of course, he has the scout there, so able to kind of utilize it above the smoke just as well, even better than the orb, really, in theory, of jumping up and down. Kerrigan, see if there's any aggression down by Monster. Not going to find any early on, but the 3 plays stacked towards B. might come through with some goods soon enough.
You and Pasha, this is delayed aggression. Just now push up, looks like Pasha wants to keep going. Will he find anything? How aggressively? Because it's a 3-player stack this whole time for Virtus.pro over towards the B site. The op is there on Snacks. Taz and Bialy playing close up. They've got to be careful. There's no more smoke in Monster. No more smoke for them to use. And Snacks has fallen far away. He could very easily get smoked out of this position.
Snacks is on Overwatch, but here we go. It's Taz to trade out. Taking down Device. 4v4 now. Flashes come in. They've blinded up Taz for a second, but he takes another fight and he wins it. Snacks fights on Taz! Inhuman performance from him, going above and beyond for his side. Now Carrigan left in the 1v3. Players left, right and center. And it's Virtus.pro to pick up map 1. The final calling of overtime. They did it against the odds, against the buy. And that's going to be heartbreaking for Astralis.
Oh no, Taz just tears out the heart of Astralis there. What a round. Not able to bring it into second overtime. Astralis almost makes that comeback. Back all the way to the first half. What a map from these two. Everyone's stepping up at a different point.
This is truly a battle of the giants here, both showing how much this means to them, how much comes down being on this stage and making that step further. Of course, bearing in mind, Train is still on the way, but we have to hear what the experts think about that first map.
Thank you very much, Pansy and Moses, because we need to know how on earth that just happened. I mean, we said it was their best chance, gentlemen. We said that was it for Astralis. This was, this was the battleground where they had the most chances. But did we really believe overtime's a comeback against all odds? I mean, a 12-3 half in favor of Virtus.pro, to see it go to double overtime. We'll start with you, Janko, because that looked like a VP open and shut case.
That's true, especially after that first half, and especially after that second round. It looked good for Astralis, winning the pistol round and losing the anti-force buy. And I feel that for Astralis in this series, it has to be on the T side, winning the pistol and then controlling the economy. And on the CT side, they need some amazing individual plays to be able to keep up with VP. So after seeing that crushing first half, I didn't have a lot of hope for them, but they really played an amazing CT side in the second half.
Individual plays, probably the key word here, Duncan, from everyone in that server.
Well, no, that's the thing is, if you go back to the very basic core blueprint of what made this team when it was Team Solo Mid and when it was Dignitas, they always have been good on CT sides, especially on maps like this where you can really play in the sites and you can just play off each other and you just have your stars use their aim. So at the end of the game there, the guy who really snuck up the scoreboard was Device, actually. Like, we saw Pasha for so much of the game, and the Device was kind of in the middle. Him and Glaive were putting up numbers. He ended the game with 30 plus, and obviously on the T side, he put them in the chance to at least go to another overtime. I really feel like what's interesting about the way the game played out was, you saw some players who didn't have to put up the biggest scores on the board to have real impact. Like, obviously Snacks, he wasn't the biggest fragger, but he was always having impact kills. He's in position to win. Glaive hasn't looked super sick. He hasn't had all that many highlights, but he just put up so many numbers that he's kept them in the game. And I feel like actually it was a very well-rounded performance from the guys from Astralis, bearing in mind you couldn't ask too much of Zonic in that scenario. His job in that game was don't die, throw flashes, give guns, give boosts. He actually was like the pure support player that I suppose he doesn't exist.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right with that one. Blue, any criticisms towards Astralis? That comeback, surely that kind of makes it bittersweet to see it taken away from you so close.
Yeah, I mean, let's be honest. It seems like now that they're going to do whatever it takes and they're going to fight as hard as they can to not go out of this tournament until at the very least the semifinals, where the curse takes hold at that point. But great performance from those players. Huge pickup from Pasha too, which is one of the players that I thought was slumping a little bit earlier in this tournament, and now he comes and drops easily the biggest fragging power of that game right there. So Virtus.pro looking strong. They did manage to close it out in the end. Bit curious now to see how the next couple of maps go, since Astralis are still able to compete against them here.
Been a while since we saw a Pasha like that, Janko.
Definitely, and in that run in 2014 when they won the major and when they were one of the best teams in the world, Pasha was actually, for the first half of 2014, probably even the best player in the world. So it's great to see him performing. And for me, that second half was a great example of how Overpass works as a map and how many options you have it and how mobile and creative you can be on the CT side. Astralis did a great job of either trying to take control of long or being aggressive towards the mid area, and VP tried a couple of different things to counter that, but they weren't very lucky with their reads, right? They were getting the wrong reads, and Carrigan was really on point. You could see how towards the end they finally got an idea of how they are going to play against that setup, going for a more of a picky style and basically just 5-manning in one round towards long, knowing that if the players are there, we can just brute force our way in, get the trades, and if they're not, we can pretty much creep up all the way towards the bomb site.
Is it sometimes difficult, Duncan, to understand how a team can only get 3 rounds in regulation on one side and then concede so many in the overtime and still manage to bounce back? Like, Astralis kind of breaking the mold almost.
Well, the thing is, I mean, we have seen in the match they had against Dignitas, it was mainly on the CT side where they were good.
Yeah.
They still had their problems even on the T side there. And because they started out T side here, it looked like they really had difficulty figuring out, like, what should the pacing be when we're going against Virtus Pro? And so they were just going incredibly slowly. And the problem with doing that is you really put a lot of emphasis on, like, team play. And, like, this guy watching the right angle while I'm looking over here, or the right flash going off, me knowing what that means. And they don't really have that basis, actually. Whereas you look at when they were winning the rounds on the overtime, actually, they were putting a gun in the hand of the good players, sending them in, and actually actively trying to take aim duels, not do that slow style. And it's kind of a shame when you consider they had this game, at least a chance to win it. If they could go back in time and play that first half again, I wonder if you put in Open Device's hands some of those rounds if you're going to go so slow, because obviously he was effective in overtime with it. You didn't really see it, though, on the T side before, that he was just kind of like leaving the opening over to the other guys.
So damn close. And that play, I think we just need to have a quick moment, a quick mention of that play from Taz towards the end. That looked like we were going to be seeing another overtime. Against all odds, that buy, Janko just quickly, it was a scout, an AWP, and some CZs. How, like, losing rounds like that must be so devastating from a player's perspective.
Of course it is, but it's one of the toughest rounds to play against, because you know they have that one op, and besides that they don't really have much. So as an in-game leader, you need to figure out a way how to not get trapped by the op. VP had a great setup with 2 CZs, 2 pistols close to that monster area, and it was that second shot from Taz, I think, that really won the round for them, because those were the last bullets in his clip. If he doesn't get the kill, the Astralis player has the opportunity to push in, kill him, they get control of the bomb site, make it much interesting, but VP closed it out when it mattered the most.
Yeah, we'll be seeing if Virtus Pro can stay on track in the next map on Train. For now, though, we take a break. When we do come back, we'll be discussing that, the second map of the best of 3 here for day 4 of ESL One Cologne. Can Astralis really recover after a loss like that to a player like Taz? We'll see you in a second, guys, after the break.